Hello and welcome to episode 46 of the XboxEra podcast. I'm Sika Mechanico and I'm joined as always by Special Ed.
What's going on?
Can you not, please? Can you just find a better catchphrase?
No, it's perfect.
Every week.
And Figments.
Every week.
Hi.
Oh, a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more chirpy today. It's a chirpy Saturday afternoon.
Well, there's a lot
of
chirpy news going on in the gaming world.
It's
recently.
Weird for a bi-weekly, soon to be weekly. Whenever we make that decision move, you think that there wouldn't always be stuff to talk about, with COVID and everything else, but there's always seems to be some decent
there's like a
news.
new piece of news every week.
It's good. I like it. The beats keep on coming. But before we dive into that, as always, as is tradition at this point, have you guys been playing anything new? I have, so I'll zip it and wait until you guys have had your turn.
I did go. I don't know why this urge overtook me, but I started playing Ori and the Will of the Wisps again because I want to go and finish off those achievements.
I saw you playing that yesterday.
And man, I'm all about frame rate, but I don't like Thomas has kind of ruined 4K for me now. Like I was switching between the 6K super sampled and the 4K, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe 4K looks blurry now. Like I've just switched to the 6K 60 because the 60 is so smooth anyway.
Yeah, it's lovely.
For which game?
Ori
and the Will of the Wisps.
Oh, okay.
And my god, it's so sharp and just oh man. So yeah, I just randomly dove back into Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and oh yeah, I just thought of it now. I need to jump back into Fortnite to buy Ryu and Chun-Li.
How is that game's performance fared overall? Pretty great. I remember the game launched pretty.
Ori, on Series X, it's flawless. Like thanks to the SSD and everything like that, it's just perfection. Yeah. Like
it won Game of the Year.
Yes,
on Xbox.
It's our Game of the Year. Yeah, it's
the only game of the year that matters, John.
Absolutely. Damn fucking straight.
It's
swore. Getting it out of the way. It's fine. Yeah, there's a good choice. There's a good choice to jump in and replay. What about you, Figment's been playing anything new? Is it just Destiny 2 and, hurting yourself over and over and over?
Destiny 2, the new season launched. It's been going really good so far. I really like it. It's a lot better than the last season because it actually feels like it has content in it.
That's always a bonus.
Always a bonus when it actually feels worth doing. I'm pretty much done with my grind now. I reached the soft cap, and the hard cap is going to take me 4 weeks to meet now at this point.
Cool.
So I'm just chilling. Beyond that, not much new. I still need to get back to the Medium and Yakuza, but I've been playing some Black Ops, which I find myself gravitating towards now, even though I prefer Modern Warfare, mostly just because I played Modern Warfare literally nonstop last year.
Yeah.
Like
it's a palate cleanser.
Every single day. Yeah, I need something. Yeah, I need something different to change it.
Still is COD, but it's a little bit with
a
cleanser.
It's a little lesser.
Yeah. I've been playing surprisingly. I know this is unusual. I've been playing a bunch of new games. The first game it's the first game in recent memory that I platinumed, for want of a better phrase, or got 1,000 out of 1,000 gamer score, which was Little Nightmares 2. Man, what a game! If you haven't played Little Nightmares, grab it. I think it's been on sale recently. You have played it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, right, we'll play it because
it's on Game Pass, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. I don't think
Games with Gold.
Might have been on Games with Gold, but the first one is it's a platformer, but I was talking about this when I was doing the review. Like if you took Ori and the Will of the Wisps and said this is the perfect dream world realized in a video game, Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares 2, Little Nightmares was like the complete polar opposite. Like it's still gorgeous, but everything is horrible. Like the whole world is just bizarre and twisted and just strange. And it really gets under your
Little
skin.
Nightmares was Games with Gold last month.
Wow. Well then, yeah, if you picked it up, play it. Because, man, I don't want to give anything away because I think the story for Little Nightmares 2, considering there is 0 dialogue and not really any cutscenes to speak of, was superb. Like, very, very, very rarely do I, have that shocked expression where my jaw's on the floor and I can't believe what just happened. But man, so many moments in that game had me going, oh no, gross. And 100% go play it. Like I gave it a 9 out of 10 because there's still some niggles, like controlling the character in a 2.5D space where you can kind of go up and down the plane,
back and forth.
Sometimes there'll be like a grate and you'll be running from something and you've jumped but your angle isn't right and you'll hit here instead of where you want to, and that's frustrating. But
so it's not like more modern 2.5D games where like you have like a switching mechanic where you can switch between the panes or whatever.
No, it's more a 2.5D-ish platform. I mean, I used 2.5D probably incorrectly, but the controls is the one thing that is a slight niggle, but it depends on how you look at it. I personally feel that the reason they feel somewhat laboured and a little bit unresponsive is not because the developers didn't want to fix that problem, but it adds to the inherent tension and terror and fear of you running away from crazy long neck lady or the other crazy things.
that reminds me of like what some people would consider like the going backwards mechanics in a lot of like modern first person horror games, like where on PC and in Amnesia you have to click and hold a button in order to open a door, but you have to move your mouse to open the door.
Yeah, like push it.
Like forward. You have to swing it open yourself, right? And I remember when Amnesia first launched, there was a lot of people complaining about that mechanic because it felt unintuitive. It felt like it was making it a hassle, an unnecessary hassle to open a friggin' door. But it added so much to the terror of the monster chasing you.
Yeah.
Because now you're wasting time trying to open this door. Before you can hide.
Little Nightmares 2, like, man, I genuinely think it's probably, unless something really, really surprises me this year, it's probably going to be one of the best smaller games of the year. Like, it was really, really good. Like, astoundingly good. Okay. So definitely, if you get a chance, pick it up. I think it's 25 quid in UK money, whatever it works out in your monies. But the other new game I've been playing, which is out on Switch already, I think, is Killer Queen Black.
It is out on Switch.
Wasn't that game they teased last year?
It was announced to come out earlier in the month or end of January, and they pushed it back a little ways. But the developers were super cool. Gave us some codes for the XboxEra team to play around with. I've got some more game schedules, like we're working on the review, etc. But there's no embargo because the game's already out, so I guess I can be pretty free with my thoughts here, in that I think if you really appreciate well-made competitive games where you want to get with friends and see who can come out on top, or take a team of 3 others in with you and win and do so in really clever ways, I think it's going to tick a lot of boxes for a lot of people, and it launches straight into Game Pass, which is definitely going to be worth looking at. Not fully made up my mind on everything yet because it's not out on Xbox yet. It has bots and other things to fill in gaps in matches, but you don't get the full experience unless you're playing against another team. So we've got some more scheduled play sessions that we're working on tomorrow, and I'm hoping if I can get the developers to come and sit down with me and have a chat about what it's been like working with Microsoft and bringing the game to Game Pass, I'll try and do something on that early this week, hopefully before it drops, because it comes out on Tuesday. But yeah, definitely one to watch. I think anyone that's got a kind of competitive tickle, they'll enjoy it.
Yeah. That whole bots, co-op bots thing kind of reminds me of like Halo 5. Like the whole where you had the fire teams behind you.
Yeah,
but they were useless.
They're not
They were
useless.
fundamentally useless.
They're not useless because the design of the game is it's a 4v4 all on one map. Kind of, you can always see what everyone's doing, and you've got 3 possible paths to victory. You've got the hive, which you have to collect these little berries for and fill up your hive. That's an economic victory. Then you've got military victory, and you've got the queen, and you've got the worker bees. Like, the workers can go and become like knights with guns or swords and stuff, or really fast. They are the ones collecting the berries or helping fight if you get to be a warrior. And the queen can fly around and stab people and all that sort of fun stuff. So she's super powerful, but you've only got 3 queens. And if you lose all your queens, it's a military victory to the other team. And the third way of winning is to ride the snail home, the snail god, and that's a snail victory. So you've got to manage all this stuff. Like, oh, they're nearly filled up the economic. Oh, but someone's on a snail and they're riding it to the gate. And it's frantic, but really good. So yeah, definitely one to watch.
That's an interesting thing to check out.
Yeah,
though
definitely.
I wanted to expand on the whole Halo 5 point. Do we think Halo Infinite, if it has co-op, is going to do the same thing where like you have 3 bots with you, or no it's going to be solo, right?
It's to my knowledge,
That's probably
it
a
is
stupid question.
completely solo game. I haven't heard anything.
No
to the
co-op at all?
contrary. It'll have co-op. You'll be able to do your
co-op.
usual 4-player co-op, but you'll not have a squad of AI. It'll just be like in the old school days where the characters will just be duplicates of the chief, or if it's if you take your multiplayer Spartan in there with you, I don't know.
It won't be a narrative squad like Halo 5.
No.
Oh, thank God.
So it's been.
Well, I mean, come on, the squad in Halo 5 was useless. Like, we can agree on that, right?
I'm down. Get me up.
Yeah. But this is definitely a tangent we don't want to go down.
No. We have the you have
especially
me at Halo
this
podcast.
early on.
Yeah. Man, I really need to join.
Halo will always. We'll just reserve that for the Halo guys in the Halo podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
They can argue about it,
and they do.
They can.
Regularly.
I jumped in there again.
You can't help yourself. Just going in there.
I just did. I was at my desk and I saw they were recording, and I'm like, work's pretty quiet, so I just jumped in.
Yeah. So let's move on to the news, the latest news of the day, I suppose. There's been some interesting things, but before we dive into any of them, one hilarious one, and I don't know if I'm going to regret this or not, is that...
playing it fast and loose with hilarious.
Yeah, well, I don't know if... I think I'm probably going to regret it, but XboxEra launched on TikTok. Like, we threw up a TikTok profile just to have some fun and put some more viral
Yeah, I saw
videos
some interesting
out.
comments about my hair in that one. That's from the team.
Yeah.
Is that why you're wearing a beanie? Because you couldn't be bothered combing your hair?
Yeah, that's probably true. I'm not going to say yes or no to that, but it's probably true. No, I did actually bother to comb my hair. It's just a mess, regardless.
It
So,
doesn't matter what I do. It's like Harry Potter.
Just shave it.
No, not going to do that.
No.
I woke up that morning to find people complaining about me in a TikTok, and I'm like, I'm not in a TikTok. And then I saw that it was from the XboxEra team, and I'm like, wait, why am I in a TikTok for XboxEra? What did John do this time?
It's true. I don't even ask anymore. I just do these things. But yeah, if you're on TikTok, give us a follow. It's always good for a laugh. But more interestingly, Microsoft announced a new
Finally.
headset. And it looks
it's
awesome.
going to be awful.
And
It's going to
you
be
know
awful.
what?
It's going to sound awful. It's going to feel
no.
awful to have on.
You know what?
Okay, name one headset, official headset Microsoft has ever made that didn't hurt to wear, that sounded great, and that was actually worth the money you paid for it.
I can do
I
this.
can't think of a single one.
That's the thing, though. They've always been cheap, though.
The 360 wireless one, the little ear dongle, was fine. Had no problems with it.
That's not a headset. That's just a microphone.
And the 30
Haven't
quid
they only made the one headset then?
stereo headset for the Xbox One was super comfy. No problems. It was cheap.
No.
Yeah, it was.
No way.
Super comfy.
I had that $60 headset. It hurt my head to wear. It sounded like crap. The USB, not the USB, the 3.5 millimeter jack ended up crapping out on me after like 2 weeks of use.
I've got a good feeling about this one.
I think it's going to be good.
No.
I got a good, and I just can't believe the price on it. Like,
Yeah.
99 US, it's only 150 Australian. So I've already got my name down for one.
Same.
Because my Turtle Beach 600s are like they're on the way out, and they're not very. Look, that's the funny part.
Yeah.
These are cheaper than the Turtle Beach 600s. They have Bluetooth,
And they're gonna feel it. They're gonna feel it. They're gonna sound
I
it.
don't know.
They're
Well, look,
No.
these,
I have no faith in Microsoft to make a competent headset for their game consoles because they've never done it. They've never done it.
Well,
They've never tried.
I've got the PlayStation Golds, which are $170, and they're okay. They're not great. They're fine.
Yeah, but that's Sony. That's not Microsoft.
Microsoft
And I think
already
these will
made.
be
Microsoft
fine.
already made a headset, which was the Surface headset, which
Surface. And that's
got
what these
very
are
positive
basically built.
reviews. And these
Yeah.
were based on that headset. And they've even got, have you seen
Yeah.
it? The cool, you
dial.
twist it.
So
oh,
good.
man. I was
So
as soon as I saw that, I was like, yep. Because I've got.
But you
this
know
is-
what else is great, though?
Taken from Lucid Sound, though.
That's
The
still
best
cool.
Sound
part
has had those
is-
dials for a while.
The best part is that you can sync them to your console and to a Bluetooth device
Simultaneously.
separately.
So you
Yeah,
can
like
have
that.
a call come in
That's great.
on your phone while you're playing a game. Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to start using them probably for my Surface instead of using these. Maybe I just use the Xbox ones.
Yep. I have to admit,
I like them. I think they're good.
I've had this SteelSeries headset, and I can't remember. It's the Arctic 9, I think.
Yeah, 9X.
And it's fine, right? But if I want to use it on my Xbox, I have to plug in one of these cables and stick it over here. And I've noticed that this volume spinner, which lets me max the volume out, goes past its end stop and loops back around to the beginning again, which is really annoying.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just, and after a while, especially with COVID, I had to wear this a lot, and it's got a solid steel bar here with some padding underneath it. It starts to hurt my shiny head, and it gives me a headache.
These are the same. These start to hurt after a while too.
So I'm very curious to see, because I found that the cheap, the stereo headset for the Xbox One, I'm no audiophile, but I found that perfectly comfortable and it was serviceable and it did the job.
I've never used
for the price. So yeah, bring it on. I'm all for trying it out. I've got my pre-order in with Amazon.
Yeah, I've got my order.
I don't know if Microsoft will send us some for review. It'd be certainly cool if they did. And yeah,
You're welcome.
we'll happily have a look. But yeah, I think the price, and it's interesting how quickly it sold out instantly. Virtually.
Oh, straight away. Even EB here. Like I went to pre-order them off EB's website, and they were like, "Gone, sorry, gone." I'm like, "Really?
No more."
Jeez, I was surprised.
But that wasn't the only thing that Microsoft announced this week, because finally, after we'd heard it all last week, and
West kept secret.
Yeah, well, I knew the list of games, bar one. I didn't have the full list. I had 4 of the 5, so I knew what was coming.
I knew one game, and that's because someone told me this is a game that you like because I've watched your podcast and I've seen you mention this game. So there was one game I 5? Knew about. Super Lucky's Lucky's Tale.
Yeah, you do like that. But yeah. They announced their FPS boost, so I guess Xbox finally does have a boost mode.
They got boost mode, eh? Copying Sony again.
Jerks.
Yeah, they're copying Sony.
But it was an interesting announce, right? Because it was just a cool piece of tech, right? And all of the insider crew, including ourselves, were like, these expectations,
just drop them a little bit.
Bring them down. It's just a little taster, little nugget of info. Yeah. It's very cool technology. The fact that they're doing this under the hood, and as I understand it, they're tricking the game to run faster via I can't remember what the phrase was. I think it's via the calls to the game for information. So they're not going in and changing an INI file or anything like that. They're literally just running the game twice as fast as they were. So they're pulling the info twice as quickly. But it works. It's very, very cool. Have you tried any of the games yet?
I did boot up New Super Lucky's Tale, and man,
much better.
120 frames. It was like
it was good.
And I swear the game again. Please, I'm sure it's my imagination, but I swear the game looks sharper as well. I know it's not. I know there was no resolution boost, as Digital Foundry kept mentioning. What's with that? Did anyone watch Digital Foundry's video on the FPS boost thing?
Okay, my thing with this is, should we even talk about it? Because we've mentioned our issues with some of Digital Foundry's coverage before,
but
and I feel like it's
thing is, I don't understand. It's a video. So the feature is FPS boost, right? It's about the frame rate, yeah.
Yep.
Digital Foundry then did a video examining it. Said, "Oh, look, it boosts the frame rate of this." Why were they mentioning and bemoaning the lack of a resolution boost so often in that video?
Well, I would imagine because of the majority of the games that were picked were pre-Xbox One X, and ergo they were dealing with sub 1080p res, right? 900p.
But that's irrelevant.
It is.
It's irrelevant.
It is and it isn't, right? Because they like to go for both, I think. I mean, I would mention it in passing.
Well,
I didn't watch the full vid, but...
I mean, I've watched a lot of the PS5 Series X comparisons, and I've seen John mention many times how he prefers frame rate over resolution and how frame rate's more important, and
I would agree with him. It is.
Oh, it is. Of course it is. So again, we loop back around. Why was resolution mentioned so much in that video? Oh, man, but it's only 900p. It's like, but you care about the frame rate, don't you? Isn't frame rate what's more important? Like,
I sometimes think...
I don't know.
It will take a couple of years this gen, I think. 2 or 3, before the way Microsoft... I don't know, man. It sounds fanboyish, right? And I'd like to consider myself far away from anything that is close to being a fanboy. I just like playing games, and I happen to prefer the Microsoft ecosystem, a variety of games given. But I can't help but feel that they will forever, or at least for the next couple of years, until some big changes with this generation, be given short shrift from a lot of the mainstream gaming. Man, I sound like Donald Trump. The mainstream gaming media. No, I don't know. I just think it's an odd scenario. Like, there's never just that's really cool. The end. There's always a but or that they should be doing.
I'll never forget.
It's weird.
There was a Kotaku. I'll never forget this Kotaku article that was written by one of their Australian journos. That's what you want to call them.
I know the one you're talking about.
When MKV support came to Xbox, and with MKV support, it wasn't just the article wasn't MKV support comes to Xbox. It was you can now play pirated movies
on your Xbox. But
Well,
what about when it came to PlayStation?
PS4, when PlayStation got MKV support, it was just PlayStation 4 gets MKV support.
Now you can watch.
But on Xbox, it was those filthy pirates, and they can watch their movies now on Xbox. Come on, man! Like,
it's odd.
Seriously, come on.
It's really, really odd.
At this point, I feel like
FPS boost. Just talk about the FPS. Don't worry about the resolution.
At this point, it's just unnecessary to even mention these comparisons because we all know where it's going to lead, and we're all just going to get mad and angry, and we're going to have another
I don't watch
30-minute tangent.
Well, I think
you know what I mean. Like, we already have enough tangents. Can we just ignore the performance comparisons?
Well,
Digital Foundry made a video on the FPS boosts, and they kept talking about resolution. Okay, but they did mention the FPS boost, right? And the FPS boosts look great.
Yeah.
So far. How many games are supporting it right now?
5 right now.
5, yeah.
4, 5. But I'll tell you now, man. Like already, my list of games that I want to get boosted. Oh, it's growing.
Yeah. My list is very small because a lot of the games that I enjoyed from the previous generations already had uncapped frame rates. Like Morrowind on the OG Xbox version of Morrowind already runs at 60 FPS on the Series X.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, because I mean, on original hardware, that game ran at like 15. So
it was awful.
Any improvement there is great. But I don't know. I don't know what other games.
Dead Rising 3.
Is Crackdown 3 30 FPS?
Yep.
The campaign or the multiplayer or both?
Both.
Dead Rising 3 for sure. I mean, it's 720, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Destiny 1. When I like to go back to that
game. Imagine if they did that.
Destiny 1 at 60 FPS. Oh, God. It probably breaks some things. Probably.
But, what if they applied it to COD?
COD's yeah. Well, no, older CODs.
All CODs have
mate,
always been
120.
60. Oh, 120, yeah.
That
I
would be
don't
good.
have. I do have a 120 hertz monitor. I've got 144.
Only problem with older CODs is basically no one plays them.
Yeah.
Like I want to go back and play Modern Warfare 3 at some point.
What about
but-
Modern Warfare 2019? What if that got a boost to 120? That would be nice.
I'd rather get a boost in Activision pumping out an update that gives it FOV support. I don't really care about 120 in that game.
I would
care
always
more
think
about
60 is
how
kinda good
narrow
enough.
the screen looks.
But
Yeah.
it's look. I think always these kind of next gen comparison things. The reason they get views and the reason they get talked about is because people are invested in their platforms, and in my opinion, they just want to get one over on the other team, right? And that's
They wanna feel
part
like
of
their
the
money is
reason
worth
they
it.
exist is to generate traffic
Sunset Overdrive.
and clicks. Sunset Overdrive definitely needs a 60 FPS update. God,
Forza Horizon 3.
yes,
Ooh.
best one.
So many games.
But yeah, it is what it is. What else have we got? Another announcement made in the list.
Announcements.
Now let's be clear here. We theorized a while back Fall Guys was definitely on its way to Xbox. There
We
was
said to Game Pass, but like,
yeah,
if it's coming to Game Pass, it means it's coming to Xbox.
yeah. But we I think there was an article because someone suggested it was, and then their media team came out and went, oh no plans
It's
to
not
come
coming
to
to Game
Xbox.
Pass. No, they said it's not coming to Game Pass.
Sneaky.
They never denied it was coming to Xbox. They denied it was coming to Game Pass.
Yeah. And
Having
yet
said
now it
that,
is.
now that it's officially coming to Xbox, it's going to come to Game Pass, just like Rocket League did. So just hold out.
That's his. I swear.
and it'll come to Game
That's Nick's favorite word. Is just.
There are a lot of people that need to hear it.
Come on. Oh yeah, like it's just necessary at this point.
I gotta wonder
Like-
as well. Like Fall Guys for me seemed to be a little bit of a flash in a pan. Like it was everywhere
it's gone
because
away
of an
for a little bit.
exemplary social media campaign from
It
their
was the
team.
same. It was
Yeah.
the same thing with. It was the same thing with Dauntless. Do you guys even remember Dauntless?
Yeah, played it a little bit. It's actually not that
Yeah.
bad.
It's not bad,
It's actually
but like
okay.
after 2 weeks, no one was talking about it.
Yeah.
I have
Right
a
off.
feeling unless it launches into Game Pass, it will go a very similar route. So it's
Yeah.
going to come to Game Pass.
It actually needs to be
It
in
does.
Game Pass.
It does. That's why I kind of like I was mentioning Killer Queen Black earlier. I think that
Oh,
launching
God.
into Game Pass straight away will give it a huge number
Yep.
of
Especially considering the entry price for Fall Guys is freaking what, $30?
Yeah, I know. It's not
Like, are
cheap.
you kidding me? That's ridiculous. That game should be free to play.
Well, yeah, it's got skins and all that sort of stuff in it that you can buy and stuff. I'm
Yeah,
kind of surprised it's not.
going the PUBG model, I don't think is going to work here. Like,
Probably not.
It's not as universally appealing as PUBG was, and kind of still is a little bit. I mean, it's still very popular. It is second place to Fortnite. So
It's in terms of actually being played, it's still big, but in terms of being talked about, it is gone.
yeah,
Like-
it's still just Fortnite.
It's for sure, especially now with Ryu and Chun-Li. I got to go buy them. Got to go waste more money.
So another announcement that was made this week relating to games coming to Xbox, the second Extinction game, which was in the showcase last year, which was basically the
Yes.
dinosaur
Looks
Left
cool.
4 Dead. Looks cool.
Yeah.
Is coming to game preview this spring. So in the next couple of months.
That teaser trailer thing on Twitter was pretty funny.
With the dinosaur on the street.
Dinosaurs walking through the street, and then the Series X comes down and crushes it. Oh, that was
Yeah,
pretty
it
funny.
was good fun. So I'm looking forward to trying that one out.
Yeah.
But a game preview implies that you have to pay to be playing that.
No, not
I
necessarily.
thought they had
Darwin
free
Project-
game preview before. hadn't they?
Darwin Project is free to play, but it's in game preview.
Yeah.
It was at least.
Ah,
if
okay.
it's
Fair
not
enough.
out yet.
Yeah, they
Stands
they've had
corrected.
free ones. They've had free ones before.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, we'll see what happens on that front then. I think
It
it was
probably
paid
won't be, but
on
I'm just-
PC, but yeah.
Yeah.
The other piece of news came out of the Microsoft camp this week was Sea of Thieves, which is always a fun topic
Wow.
for me. They had, following their launch of Seasons, their highest ever monthly active users. It's just interesting because I had a quick go, me and my crew, and I'm like, board, which is a shame. Now that's not. I don't understand. It's not that I don't understand what they're doing. This is the foundations for being able to build upon future updates. But as an initial update, I was kind of like, so basically, it's still doing all of the stuff I have been doing, except you give me a little bar that fills up when I'm doing it, so that I feel like I'm progressing. Okay.
Really?
And it just, and I'm not being fair to it there when I say it that way. It's not that cut and dry. It's basically fundamentally, it was a game that was always a time sink, 4 or 5 hour sessions, and if you lost everything, you lost everything. Whereas now you can constantly be earning stuff for your pirate, your character, renown, progression, blah blah blah, be it cosmetic items, even if you're playing in short chunks, because you'll always tick a little bit more of that box. Cool. It just felt like I need something. I need the new cool stuff. And,
but the thing is, if the game's not built with that in mind and not built around that, then it's gonna. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, no, they've done a good job of building it in there
whack.
now, and that's what I mean when I say it's a foundation of things to come. Because I just felt personally that it was a bit flat because it was still doing the same stuff. There was nothing new to do apart from like a merchant voyage, and I don't really care about ticking the boxes. I play to have fun, and there wasn't enough new for me to have fun with. That was my concern.
Okay.
But for those that really love like being able to dive in and tick those boxes, have fun. I'm looking forward to the next update and see what comes. Unfortunately, it's quarterly, which is a long time. So roll on April, I guess. But there you go. And then I think, Nick, I'm going to throw the microphone over to you to talk about a kerfuffle that may have been caused by you.
My fault.
Some shenanigans are afoot, and you are at the foot of them.
What did I miss? What did I miss this time? Because Nick seems to always be causing trouble.
I got a lot of YouTube videos linked to me. Like there were people sending me links of YouTube videos that I was appearing in. Apparently, so I put out a tweet. So I had never really heard of this ACG person. And I think he's one of the co-hosts on the Defining Duke podcast with Miss Maddie Plays.
Yep.
And he was talking about, I think, a game that I think is going to be exclusive or about to be exclusive or something that's not in Microsoft's wheelhouse. And the reason it's going to be exclusive is because Microsoft is acquiring or has acquired studio. Something along those lines. Something to do with the studio being acquired and their game now being exclusive, blah, 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 blah. So there was some discussion around it in a Discord I'm in and a few other things. So I started asking around people that I thought might know whom he is referring to. And from what I could gather, he was talking about Techland and Dying Light 2. Which is what my tweet said. I said, I'm fairly certain he is talking about Techland and Dying Light 2.
Yep.
So naturally that became, well, Microsoft's bought Techland and Dying Light 2.
Of course it did. You can't expect anything less.
Yeah. So remember, my tweet wasn't talking about Techland being acquired. It was talking about who I believe ACG is referring to. You're balancing Halo toys again.
I like to do these things.
So yeah, that was all I was talking about, who ACG was referring to. Now, he has since not come and said it's not Techland.
That's interesting.
He could have done it any
said,
time.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Could he not?
He could have.
I mean, if it wasn't Techland, then he could have just said, look, guys, I've heard all the talk. It ain't Techland.
But he didn't do that. Or he hasn't done that yet.
No. Not yet. So that leads me to believe one of two things. It is Techland and he can't say it because he's got friends there. Or two, he doesn't know and he's waiting for someone to be acquired so that he can say, yeah, that's who I was talking about all this time. Them. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was asking around and from what I was told, he has friends at Techland. So I assume he was talking about Techland. And I mean, we'd heard Microsoft were looking in Poland.
Yeah, that's a
They
rumor
were
that's
in
been
Poland
around
like
for
back
a
in 2019.
long time.
We've heard nothing about Dying Light 2.
It was
for
on
a
the
long
Microsoft
time.
stage in 2018.
Yes.
I think 2018, 2019, one of those.
Yeah, I think 2018. The game has gone completely radio silent. All sorts of rumors floating around. I don't know if Techland's being acquired. Let me just say that. I don't know if they are or not. I'm sure there's been talks, and they were in Poland. They wouldn't be in Poland and not looking at a private, independent studio like Techland. But yeah, that's all that was about. And it caused, a little bit of a kerfuffle.
Now, didn't I read a community manager got quoted in the kerfuffle?
Oh, yeah.
From
that's
Techland.
Right, that's right. So
and
people were tagging.
Yeah,
the Techland
publicly denied it,
manager.
right? Definitely not being acquired.
Well, no, I don't think he did.
Okay, is it in the we're not being acquired thing like Bungie, or is it we're not being acquired, we're not being acquired?
What he actually said was, this is a similar rumor to the one that's been floating around for like a year, and nothing has changed. We are still independent.
Okay.
So it sounds
that's a
like
lot more clear than...
Again, I'd have to find the tweet again, but I think he said that they are still independent, nothing has changed, which is technically true. They are still independent and nothing has changed. But having said that,
there's some wiggle room.
As far as I'm aware, generally speaking, community managers wouldn't be aware if a studio has been acquired, probably until they've been acquired.
I would say so.
Like, Insomniac was staunchly independent too until they weren't anymore.
Yep.
And every studio that gets acquired wants to be independent. They all say that. But, money talks.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. So
that was that.
That's the kerfuffle. So there you go, straight from the horse's mouth. Now, again, I think I'm probably going to have to leave the microphone with you here because I didn't watch the Nintendo Direct. I don't overly care. So, I'll let you wax lyrical about this because there was a couple of cool things that I do care about announced, and I watched those things, but I'll let you dive in.
Yeah, so we had the Nintendo Direct, first one since like 2019. So it was a big, big deal. I knew some of the stuff that would be there, and some of the stuff that I got told was going to be there wasn't. So some journos have already come out and said it, and I'll say it too. Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD are still happening. Now, I think Jeff Grubb might have intimated that maybe they're not going to be a collection anymore, because I was told they were going to be a collection, like the Mario 3D All-Stars.
Yeah.
But I think now what they might do is do the typical Nintendo thing.
Charge you $60 per piece.
And screw us out of our money by charging $60 for Wind Waker, $60 for Skyward Sword,
Nintendo.
and $60 for Twilight Princess. Here's Microsoft doubling resolution, doubling frame rates, and giving us all these backwards compatible games. Here's Nintendo making us buy them again.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I'll talk about it in a second.
I don't know. Like, I've got Wind Waker on GameCube. I bought Wind Waker on Wii U, and now I'm going to have Wind Waker on Switch. And the thing is, you know what? Don't bag Nintendo. You know who you should be bagging? Ourselves.
The people who support it. Yeah.
We should be bagging
the people
ourselves.
who buy those games year in and year out.
That keep paying the money every time Nintendo. Why would Nintendo stop? Why would they stop doing it?
It's free money.
This ties.
If they don't do it like this, they're leaving money on the table.
But this
quite literally.
It's like, why do Sony keep remastering everything? Because PlayStation fans have told them, yes, we will give you money again if you remaster this.
But this
so
is the
they
thing
keep
that
doing it.
Ties back to what I mentioned earlier, in that I don't feel sometimes that Microsoft or the Xbox team really get a fair shake here, because
I know.
They don't do those things.
Yeah, but the argument can be made. The argument can be made.
Maybe Xbox gamers are smarter, and we don't just sit
I think the argument could be made that the reason why Microsoft doesn't do it is because they can't get away with it. Namely because outside of Halo and Gears and Forza, what other big prime franchises would gamers not be?
And I was about to say that's
spend
the
a bunch
thing.
of money
it's
on.
not so much that Microsoft can't get away with it; It's that Microsoft probably doesn't have the games to justify.
They don't have the IP. They don't have that back catalog going back
fair,
to the
fair
80s and
comment.
90s. You know?
Oh, with Rare they do.
Yeah, like
And
a
the-
Banjo-Kazooie remaster. Just not a new
That's
game.
right.
Just a remaster
A
of 1 and
remake,
2. Boom.
A remake.
Yeah, remake.
a
yeah,
remake.
Not
remake.
even a remaster.
We got the
A freaking
remaster.
upres in rare replay sold gangbusters.
No. But like
But
I'm
you know what
talking
I
a
mean?
saying
full remake.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Same gameplay,
Then-
just new assets.
Which leads to another discussion that Microsoft generally aren't smart enough to know what they should and shouldn't be doing. Like, because with Rare alone, they've got plenty of old games that they can remake or remaster.
I think some of our viewers would argue we shouldn't be giving them ideas because I like free things.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I would pay for
look,
a prettier version
Nintendo
of a
rorting
game I love.
aside. Nintendo rorting aside, we got Ninja Gaiden returning. Sigma. Yeah.
It's not even Ninja Gaiden Black. So who cares?
All I saw was everyone going, "Oh, it's Sigma." Then don't worry about it.
No, I mean I'll play it because I loved 1 and 2. I didn't give 3 a fair shake, and I know they did Razor's Edge, which is in this collection, which was meant to be moderately
we've got it back
better.
compatible.
I know. I don't think I bought it.
Compatible.
I had a disc.
It was games with gold.
I very rarely download them, and I know that's probably appalling to you.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I attached it religiously.
I often forget.
And I mean, I'm just waiting for Ninja Gaiden 2 to go on sale on 360 because that's still $50 Australian for some reason, which is
I
just
love that game.
redonkulous. The other thing that
Never say that again, please.
The other thing that I was very happy about was Mario Golf, which looks amazing. And then there was Splatoon 3, which took everyone by surprise. No one knew about that. No one. I had not heard chat. Like I got told about Mario Golf, and I posted about it on our forum. I said I thought Mario Golf would be there. But Splatoon 3 was a complete surprise. I don't care about Splatoon, but it was a big surprise. Then there was a couple of Xenoblade characters in Smash. I mean,
I was surprised to see that the leaked Stubbs the Zombie remaster was announced on the Nintendo Direct coming.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where all the rumours of the
Stubbs the
Halo
Zombie.
games being on that platform. So that's the Halo engine for the first time being on Nintendo
Yeah.
Switch.
Enlighten me. What's Stubbs the Zombie?
There you go.
Stubbs
Yeah,
the Zombie
well,
was a
here's the
classic OG Xbox One game. Xbox OG game, not Xbox One.
Fast and loose with classic.
Yeah, it was pretty good, man. Not a fan.
Huh.
Not a fan?
Yeah, I can see why it's weird that'd be on Switch.
My thing is, I'm surprised more third parties don't announce their games on Nintendo Directs. Like, nothing gets more eyes on it than a Nintendo Direct. So why wouldn't you announce? Like, we got that EA Dodgeball Knockout City game, which actually looks pretty cool. That spin on Dodgeball, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, it led to a discussion about Nintendo Directs. Like, you know, people have bagged Inside Xbox for years. The format. Something I've said many, many times. The problem with Inside Xbox is not the format. The format of these shows, whether it's a Nintendo Direct, what's Sony's one called? I've forgotten the name
State
of
of
it.
Play.
State of Play.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Direct, a State of Play, an E3, an Inside Xbox, the format is irrelevant. If the content is not there,
don't do
the
show.
format doesn't matter. Like people talk about how Nintendo Direct is such a great format. It's just a YouTube video, man. But that's all. It's just a YouTube video. There's no format. They say, here's what's coming, and then they tell you, here's this, and then they tell you. There's no format to it. Why people have this idea in their heads that Direct is amazing is because the content in the Directs is amazing. It's got nothing to do with the format. Nintendo could do an Inside Xbox format and call it Inside Nintendo. Actually, they kind of do with the Treehouse. I think that's what Treehouse is, isn't it?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah,
Isn't
kind of.
Treehouse kind of like Inside Xbox? Like there's actual people there talking on a couch and blah, blah, blah. It's not the format. It is the content. once Microsoft has the content to justify a show like Inside Xbox, I'm fine with them bringing back Inside Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, think the name Inside Xbox, because of the poor pacing and the talking and the Americanism of it, and sorry Americans, but as a Brit, man, like, and I'm sure any average gamer or hardcore gamer out there is like, cut the talking, just show me the game. Don't mind a developer talking me through a segment of a game. Cool. Banter between hosts?
No.
I'll pass, because it's not why I'm there. I'm there for the actual products, the games themselves. And the only Inside Xbox I think that was half decent, I think there've been two. One was XO19.
Two good ones.
Which yes. I was there.
And that's only because it was XO.
I was there standing next to a certain secret squirrel, funnily enough, and a bunch of the Sea of Thieves team watching Everwild, and like they were all up there like, yeah, look, we showed off in the game. I was like, wow, that was really cool, and that show was really good. And then there was another one where they did a load of back
compatibility one,
and that's because they announced stuff that got people talking. If you do a show and go, here's a pad, this one's red, and then that's your show.
That's the thing. The banter was still there. The format was still the same, right? The format was still the same as every other Inside Xbox, but because people cared about the content, they kind of overlooked.
It elevated it.
The crappy banter and all. But what happens is when your content's not there, those not so great bits like the banter get magnified and highlighted, and
that makes me wonder if Microsoft should have postponed relaunching Inside Xbox until they had a pipeline that was actually worth talking about, like a content pipeline.
I don't see a reason for them not to bring it back once the games start coming at a decent click.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like they should have waited to bring it back for when they actually had content to talk about.
Yeah.
Because they had multiple hour and a half long shows where they basically just
escape rooms.
Well,
just
I understand from a high level why they tried to make it like a quarterly thing, even if there wasn't necessarily news. Because let's put it into context.
They were trying to do monthly.
Right? Well,
I don't know. At one point, remember?
Oh god, yeah, they did.
They were doing monthly at one point.
But think about it in this way.
Yeah.
This group here, we host a podcast every 2 weeks at the moment, and we have people telling us we want it weekly. Now, there's usually enough news to talk about over a 2 week period to make a 2-hour podcast, including community questions, etc., etc. You would think that as the developers and makers of a game, or multiple games, that there would be enough people to lean on to fill a 45-minute show monthly. But that's not how the games industry works. And this is a whole separate topic. Why is this industry so secretive? I'll give you some context. Look at Marvel. Here's our movie slate for the next 8 years.
Yep.
Why do video games
I don't know.
hold things in so much? I love, as a consumer, I love the excitement of seeing something mind-blowing and new. And, is it a thing of IP theft or game design? I don't know. But why?
Actually, you know what? I think I know what it is. Games get changed and cancelled a lot more than movies.
True. More iterative.
Games are harder to make than movies. I know that movies are expensive and movies are grand,
but movies generally get shot in about 6 to 8 months, and then it's all post-production.
Yeah, man. Like
you're talking about a development industry that is yet to mature to the point where content pipelines are very like, here's point A, here's point B, here's point C, here's release. You know what I mean? In a lot of studios, the games don't even exist anywhere close to how we see them until 6 months from launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like it.
And these games could be in development for 5 years or more.
But that's
not even the development team knows what the game looks like until the year.
I'm not arguing to see what the game looks like, but there is nothing wrong with
just that it exists.
Yeah, we're working on Perfect Dark. Yeah, we're working on Fable. Yeah, we're working on Freelance.
Well, what is that? Okay, what benefit does that give to you? What benefit does that give to you for announcing things that early?
Because something to get excited about.
I'm just talking about the approach, right? Because then if you were to do an Inside Xbox on a monthly basis, hang on. Let me make the point.
Okay.
Right? If you were doing it on a monthly basis, I don't think they should by any stretch of the imagination, but then you could do simple things where it is for the people that care about the thing, like people care about Marvel. Like, let's say, we know now EA were doing Mass Effect. They're doing another Mass Effect. They're going back. If they wanted to, they could say, hey, concept art guys, here's Inside Mass Effect Episode 1 every 2-3 months. Here's some concept art. We've been dev testing this feature, but we're not quite sure, here's caveats, game in production, blah, blah, blah. People constantly talk about the game and follow it and blah, blah, blah. That's what they do with Marvel and all these other things. But
yeah, but this leads to my next reason why the gaming industry is secretive. The gamers themselves. So
that's what I'm saying.
If what they see they don't like, they take a dump all over it, and
True
it's
enough.
like, this is the worst thing in history.
Because here's
the
thing.
My God, I'm going to kill myself. Blah blah blah. Like, people just go mental.
Here's my thing.
Do it.
The whole. Okay, here's our content pipeline. Only works if the studio has an established, trust with the customer base. Marvel has that trust. You don't see freaking DC going out saying, here's our content pipeline for the next 8 years. You see Marvel doing it because Marvel knows you're going to sit down and watch every single one of those movies, So here's your schedule, and now plan around it,
So we're back to the quality thing again.
Outside of Halo, outside of Gears, outside of Forza, there's no real reason for them to announce things so early. Like, they don't have the established pedigree.
Yeah, but
oh, you're muted, John.
I was just saying, it's just an interesting parallel between the two industries.
But most things are like open secrets anyway.
Yeah.
So how long? Yeah. We mentioned Perfect Dark on this podcast, or alluded to it, January of like 2019.
Sure, but you also have to think
2019 or 2020.
2019.
An open secret doesn't have to stay.
We started in July. In July. So January 2020, we alluded to Perfect Dark. Fable was like an open secret for ages. Like, I don't know.
But the thing is though, like, it's that whole conundrum of, remember when Nintendo announced Metroid Prime 4 a few years ago, and all they showed was the logo for the game, right? Yep. And how hyped people were. Now imagine seeing a logo for Everwild without knowing anything else. You only saw Everwild and Rare, and that was it. But you didn't see the trailer.
That's because we don't know what Everwild is.
Exactly.
We know what Metroid Prime 4 is.
You can't do something like throw up a logo on the screen and saying we're working on this if you don't know what that is.
They did it with
Fable.
Fable.
You know what Metroid Prime 4 is.
That's right, and we know what Fable is.
And you know what
we
Fable
know what Perfect Dark is.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. You can't do it for unknown things.
Yeah.
And you can't get away with it for unknown things.
No, that's right.
And a lot of games, while there's a lot of sequels nowadays, way more than probably... No, actually, there's a lot less sequels than there used to be. There's a ton of sequels in the OG Xbox and 360 days when games just got made super fast.
Every 2 years on the button.
Yeah, but like, if it's not a sequel to something, if it's something brand new, like if they just threw up a logo for Ghost of Tsushima on the screen, and not even a trailer, just a logo, and you just saw, what was it? It was Sucker Punch that did it, right?
Yeah.
And you saw Sucker Punch, what would you think? You'd think, oh, cool, a new Sucker Punch game. I don't know what it is, so I don't know what to get excited.
I think that's a fair point. It's just weird to me. I just find that the fear of being able to speak about stuff is so controlled, and I guess I think Nick's touched upon the biggest point is that gamers are gross and just poop on people.
Just
attack
everything.
Like,
just
it's gross.
Psychos.
And because game development is iterative
psychos.
and people want to know what people think so they can adjust the gameplay, and beta testing and alpha testing, all of that jazz, they're very cagey about showing off what they've got until they've got that product fully thought through. It's odd. It's odd to me.
I think every developer should follow, at least in part, the old Bethesda model of this game doesn't exist until we announce it 6 months from release. We're not talking about it. We're not mentioning it. We're not even saying it's a thing. whoever thinks it's a thing, it's probably a thing, but we don't care. We're not showing a dime of this game until it's 6 months from launch.
Yeah, I much prefer that methodology.
Any time before that is a disaster because it's too long of a wait if the game ends up like being hypeable, or people are gonna crap all over it if it doesn't look good in its initial like trailer 2 years before launch.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
that's also the reason why you see CG trailers so often, because the concept is there, the art style might be kind of there, but the gameplay isn't yet. And I mean, I've tested games in alpha, and earlier, and it is horrific. It is unplayable. It breaks all the time. It's not fun. I mean, it is fun in some ways, but yeah, it's an interesting.
Seeing the games early is an interesting perspective,
Definitely.
but at the same time, you have to go into it with the mindset of I know what I'm looking at isn't done yet.
Yeah.
This is basically someone handing you a rough draft of a book.
Back to gamers.
You can't expect it to be perfect, but gamers want it all to be perfect.
Yeah.
They want it to look good, play good, and feel good the moment they see it on screen.
Final verdict. If Inside Xbox returns, and if COVID is in the rearview mirror, and Microsoft have a pipeline to replicate the kind of announcements that you see in your average Nintendo Direct, how often do you both think that Microsoft should do something of that nature? Personally, I would like every 3 to 4 months, something of that nature.
Yeah, I was going to say quarterly.
Quarterly?
A quarterly Direct. And again, this is assuming that the first parties have like kicked in and are just churning out games.
Yeah.
Quarterly.
If they want to make the show an hour long, like they tend to do with these Inside Xbox, an
half
hour
max
to 2 hours
is all you need.
If you're doing it quarterly, half hour max. If they want to do it an hour long, I can only see it by like 2 a year. I can only see 2 a year because you need to have a lot of backlog to talk about. You know what I mean?
No, I think quarterly an hour.
No.
They've got enough studios.
Compatible announcements, FPS boost announcements, game announcements, game deep dives, mate. You could easily fill an hour.
That's true. Microsoft needs to do
as long as you're
that.
deep diving the right games. I hate this whole deep diving crap of like Ubisoft games. I don't give a shit. Pardon my French. Like just deep dive a small indie game that looks interesting. People want to talk to the developers that are just excited about their product, like in a genuine, heartfelt way, not lead developers who are spruced up as glorified PR men, you know? Like more people like the guy who was at the Game Awards. Oh, what was his name? The guy who said the Oscars. Yeah. More
Ferris.
people like Joseph Ferris and less people like the lead developer of the next Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, and speaking of Joseph Ferris, I really, really, really want to play It Takes Two. I think it's probably the most original.
He's going to give us $1,000 if we don't like it.
Well, I don't even know if EA, because we're still not big enough, I think, for some of the publishers. I'm desperately hoping EA will play ball and give us a review copy, because
does EA even own his studio? I thought it was under their indie publishing program.
No, they don't own him.
It's an original thing.
It's an indie original. Yeah. It's an EA Originals, but I really, really, really want to play it. I think it looks fantastic. Yeah, and you know, if I don't like it, I sure could use $1,000.
$1,000 if it's boring.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
I think Joseph Ferris' studio has some friggin' crazy talent to them, because A Way Out was great. A Tale of Two Brothers is good.
Yep.
Like every game they've put out so far has just been phenomenal. So who knows?
Pretty good.
I have faith that their next project is going to be good.
It looks really good. That wasn't the only big publisher show event this week, Nintendo Direct. Moving on, there was a bit of a tangent getting into Inside Xbox there, but you know, whatevs. We had BlizzCon, which we saw a few announcements that pleased a lot of the Diablo fans in particular.
Before we continue, Nick, you didn't convince anyone to do what you wanted.
I brought it back. I
didn't bring Rock and Roll Racing back.
Rock and Roll Racing on this podcast for ages, saying bring back Rock and Roll Racing, and it's come back. Yes, it's part of an arcade collection,
but you did
I still brought back Rock and Roll Racing. So add that to my list of stuff that I have used my powers to bring back.
What powers? You have nothing.
So I've done Power Stone. I've done Rock and Roll Racing, the Duke controller. I'm working my way.
The only power you seem to have, Nick, is the power to make Elden Ring get delayed another 6 months.
XO. I brought back XO. I am working my way up to Maximo.
Praise
Capcom's Maximo. That is what I'm bringing back next. Capcom's Maximo.
But yeah, I saw...
Oh, and I've added Klonoa. I've added Klonoa to my list. I want Klonoa 3 back.
I saw a lot of excitement about Diablo 2, the remaster, from lots of people that played that back in the day. And I have to admit, they've done a really good job with the artwork and kept it faithful. And they've got the neat switch between, old and new graphics, which is always nice because it shows that the original engine and the original gameplay is there and it's not been ruined. What was it, Warcraft 3? Reforged? I heard that was
Reforged.
a bit of a screw up.
Did we see a bit of Diablo 4 as well?
Yeah, they announced some.
There's been some deep dives already on some of the character classes. I've seen a couple articles on Polygon about it.
Yeah.
So it looks
Overwatch
like
2.
The game that's never getting released.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it will do.
Is there stuff wrong with it? I don't know. I didn't see.
No, it's just like they announced it 2 years ago, right? I think 2 years ago. Yeah. People thought it was going to come out 2019. It didn't. People thought it was coming out 2020. It didn't. People thought it's going to come out this year. Probably not. And at this point, there's also been rumors of, I think I've seen this a couple days ago. There's been rumors that the base Overwatch might go free to play, and Overwatch 2's because it's basically just the co-op modes. Will probably get the $60 treatment on top of it. But
I feel like if they had their time over again, they probably wouldn't have bothered with an Overwatch 2. I feel like it could have just been...
It could have been an update. It could have been an update to
an
Overwatch
expansion
1.
of Overwatch.
Yeah.
I think... And that's essentially what it is. It's not even a separate game. It's just an update, a glorified update to Overwatch 1 with a new co-op mode, And Overwatch is pretty much dead at this point. Overwatch League is still going on, but it basically doesn't really get that much viewers in comparison to any other esport that I've seen. The game has they've stated they're not going to add any new characters until Overwatch 2. God knows when that's going to release. Everything out from this point is just balance updates and events. Honestly, the biggest problem with Overwatch is it launched on so many platforms without crossplay.
Yeah.
I think that's that hurt the game more than I think Blizzard actually intended.
Well, it came before the big push for crossplay was the thing, right?
It did, yeah, but so did Paladins. And the moment crossplay came out, within 4 to 6 months, Paladins had crossplay on every platform. Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PC, your microwave, it had crossplay against on every device. Whereas Blizzard continued to be adamant of, no, we're not doing crossplay for Overwatch. No, we're not doing this. No, we're not doing that. The population on Switch is dead. It came
out on Switch, didn't it?
It did.
I completely forgot about that.
Crossplay would have helped. Crossplay would have helped. See, this is exactly my point. It came out on Switch. No one cared. Because without the ability to play with your friends you've already made on other platforms, what's the point of owning it on Switch?
Yeah.
Because barely anyone buys a Switch for FPS games. Having crossplay would have helped out there.
Yeah. Very true.
It's a sad state of affairs for a game that had potential, but Blizzard at every single opportunity has squandered it and squandered it and squandered it. I don't think Overwatch 2 is going to be enough to bring it back.
We shall see. Okay. Watch this space.
Rock and roll racing.
Now, another, and this semi rumor mill, I guess, but not really our rumor mill. The conspiracy theories have been doing the round following Bloober Team releasing the Medium.
When aren't they?
In that they might be working on Silent Hill.
Now,
there's a lot of things to this, and I don't know every detail, but the first thing I thought when I read that Bloober might be doing it was, didn't they sign a 3-game deal with Microsoft? We've had the Blair Witch, and we've had the Medium. What's game number 3? And that's where I got confused. But apparently the composer that works on the Medium was this guy from Silent Hill, and he teased it. And Bloober have been hiring a combat designer, all sorts of things.
Then there was some guy on Twitter that was like, "Oh, check out the Silent Hills Twitter account and see who it's following. It's only following 25 people." The
Xbox
reason they brought that up is because it's mostly Xbox people. Like, it still follows PlayStation and it follows but it follows a lot of Xbox related people. So everyone's like, "Oh, Silent Hill." Look,
but this goes against all the rumors that was it Dusk? Is it Dusk Golem?
Dusk Golem. Yeah. Silent Hill is his Elden Ring. It's his Elden Ring.
Wow.
But I don't know. Even if they have a 3-game deal with Microsoft, does that technically preclude them from doing this though?
No, but there were also the rumors floating around that is it
Microsoft and Konami?
Konami were licensing out IP.
Yeah, IP. Then there was another 4chan rumor, I think, that was saying that Microsoft either working with Konami or acquiring Konami or something like that.
It's never going to end.
So if someone wants to get the tinfoil hat on,
you're never gonna see the end of it, John.
Don't get me wrong.
You're never gonna see the end of it.
There would be a smirk. I don't care about Silent Hill horror games.
I was about to say, I've never played a Silent Hill game,
but there would be a smirk on my face if it turned out to be some sort of Xbox exclusive. And before any indignant PlayStation fan goes, "Why would you find it funny that I don't get to play a game I like?" Because it's funny.
Like, could you imagine if after all the talk, this ended up being an Xbox exclusive? My God. Well, I mean, the rumors were spreading about Devil May Cry 5 being a PlayStation exclusive, and then it ended up with Xbox marketing.
Yeah.
Which was almost not quite the complete opposite, but almost like.
Yeah, PlayStation got revenge with the ray tracing first update, though, didn't they? So,
Yeah. I don't know. I would find that hilarious were this to turn out to be Xbox exclusive alongside the also rumored Metal Gear Solid remake.
Yeah. That's
another
got to be multi-platform. No way.
Metal Gear Solid. Well, if Microsoft's buying Konami, then it's Xbox exclusive.
I can't anymore. I can't do this.
If Microsoft's buying Konami, sorry folks, that's all going to be Xbox exclusive.
It's not happening. I'm fed up with this. This is ridiculous. This is our lives now. I swear to God, if we load up community questions and someone asks me about acquisitions, I am going to lose my shit.
I get so many DMs.
Halo pachinko machines.
No.
Can I say, honestly, if, I've said before, I only say what I'm told I can say. So even if I know something, let's just say hypothetically, I knew for a fact that Konami was getting acquired. Let's just say. If I'm told I can't say anything, I'm not going to say anything. So DMing me and asking me, I'm not going to tell you, so that you can screenshot that DM and then say, "Oh, look what I got told."
Foiled.
I just, yeah.
You seem to have an annoying, a little nervous tick whenever someone says, "Please don't screenshot me. Please don't screenshot me." When you say,
well, we've had
the internet is going to clip it and put it on Twitter. At this point, it's inevitable. Just accept that at some point you're just going to have to deal with the fallout of something you never said.
Yeah.
True. True.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. The other interesting, and I'm only mentioning this off the cuff because I read it literally just before we started to sit down and record today. A good friend, Jeffrey Grubb, did his podcast with the GamesBeat crew. I think it's called GamesBeat Decides. Go check it out. He mentioned. Now, he's mentioned, just with regards to the Bethesda acquisition, I'm just covering this off in case there's any community questions that mention it in any way, shape or form so that I can skip them. He's done his Summer Games Mest 2.0 and he's hearing that the acquisition should close March-ish. I think we've heard end of February, early March, so I would count that as March-ish. But what's interesting is that he suggested, and I'm paraphrasing, and I haven't seen it, I just read about it before I came on, that there may be, following the completion of that deal, some sort of show or announced
video
mid-March, apparently 15th or 16th, that talks about Bethesda and Microsoft and Xbox and all of that jazz. Now, it would not surprise me that there's some sort of pre-made interview video with everybody talking about what it means and da-da-da.
There was someone on Twitter that mentioned a video that talks about Bethesda and Starfield. I'm going to assume that video is the "we are now part of Xbox" video that's probably being made as we speak.
And everything's exclusive now. Let's get this out of the way. Let's stop the conversation.
Get used to it. Get used to it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come up with something if we're wrong. Like, because so many. And this is going to be an interesting event, right? Because money talks, right? And people that follow Xbox know, and Xbox that run, Phil knows they've had a problem with first-party content and their image around first-party, and the only way to fix it, nail in the coffin, it's dead, it'll never be spoken about again, is to make these games exclusive. But money talks, right? And you'll sell stuff. But if you want to grow your platform, you're going to have to cut people off and be a little bitch about it, right? It's mine now.
Okay.
Bethesda games are for us.
Just for those people that keep going on about, but you got to make money on PlayStation. Remind me, right? So Netflix has spent billions and billions and billions of dollars, right, investing in content for Netflix. Do they go and put those movies on Disney Plus?
No.
Do they go and put them on Amazon Prime?
No.
No, they do not.
Duh.
They are for their own platform. So, everyone keeps talking about how Microsoft's all in on Game Pass. So, which is it? Are they all in on Game Pass, or are they all about making money on PlayStation? Like, if they're all in on Game Pass, you only gain subscribers through exclusive content.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if all they wanted was Bethesda's games day one on Game Pass, why not spend, say, $1 or $2 billion on a 10-year deal that gets Bethesda's games day one on Game Pass? Why buy the entire publisher for $7.5 billion? Like, just put your thinking caps on. Come on. It's all going to be exclusive, guys. Like, get used to it.
Yeah, if
it was
I
Sony,
can only
you wouldn't
agree.
be questioning it.
Yeah.
If it was Sony, you wouldn't be questioning it. So
it wouldn't even be a topic of conversation. It would just be like, guess I'm going to have to buy a PlayStation. Well, guess what?
Gonna have to buy an Xbox or a PC.
Yeah, or you could just play on your phone via Game Pass.
Microsoft gives you two platforms to choose from.
Even the one in your pocket.
Which is more than Nintendo or Sony do.
Yeah, so I think that's it. We haven't got our own rumour mill this week, so...
Not this week.
Sorry.
There is stuff coming, but it's all timing based, and it's all when I'm told I can say. There's plenty of stuff to fuel future rumour mills. Don't worry about that. Plenty. Yeah.
So I guess that leads us on to community questions. But before we do, I've got two things I wanted to talk about. Actually, no. Two things? One thing. And that's to say, first of all, thank you to our patrons.
Yes.
It's grown quite a bit because...
a little bit, yeah.
We added a tip jar, as I mentioned last episode, and lots of people have been chucking us a buck, which is great. I think it also has the fact that it disables ads on the forum is helpful. But for our tier 2s and 3s who support us even more than beyond, the kind... you guys are lovely. So big thank you to the Scarecrow121, Torn Raptor, Nottian, Shadowgasm, Sowing Shade, Blaster Base, Keris, and Big M Iced Coffee. You are all wonderful people. Thank you.
And this time, don't leave.
All right. I clicked the button
for too long,
honestly,
like you did in last episode.
I'm only human.
I'm like skipping through the video, waiting for it to go away.
Man, it's a shame that I wasn't on the video because, at the time, you probably would have seen this face. Anyway, on to community questions. And first, we'll visit our Patreon.
A lot of questions. Yeah, so Patreon always gets first dibs. So Twitter and forum, I don't know. There's a lot
cherry picking from you.
We've got to cherry pick. There's a lot. Okay, so Scarecrow121. Easy question for you all. Is there any plans for the site to do guest articles and features from community writers or other journalists? Also, final note, the new Patreon shirt design is awesome. I thought we've spoken about that before, that we're happy to have
there is
sort of stuff.
There is definitely an appetite to do that. Who asked this? Sowing Shade?
Scarecrow121.
Scarecrow121. I think it's a great shout. We've started doing something which we call Community Spotlight, which is we're hoping to kind of hit at least a monthly cadence. The last one we did was for a really cool Forge creation that I saw online, where these guys made a half-hour movie using just Forge, and everything was a set piece and edits, and it was nuts. Wow. I've got the next one lined up, which I'm quite excited to do. But do you know what? I will post a thread up on our forums and let's get some feedback from everybody, because this is a two-way street and we like to give everybody the opportunity to do stuff. So if you've got a cool idea, I'm all for it. I think it's a great shout. I love it.
And also, I'm actually waiting on a guest article to be done. I haven't checked up on the person writing this accessibility article. Yeah, there's someone, Frank,
yes.
if you're watching, he wanted to do a really cool accessibility article and on Microsoft's accessibility efforts and talk about like Killer Instinct and everything they did and the controller, I'm still waiting, so I might need to check up and see how that's going.
But I love that.
I think he wants to. Yeah, I think he wants to try and talk to Phil too. Don't know how successful he's going to be there, but
awesome. Good question.
And also, the Patreon shirt is good.
Yeah.
Okay, proven. We've kind of covered this. There's been a lot of fervor in the Xbox community, aka the XboxEra Discord, for Microsoft to put on their own Nintendo Direct style presentations. Do you guys think Xbox has been hesitant straight up copying Nintendo because they haven't had enough content to pull off an event and will make their own Directs when their studios are ready?
Yes and yes.
Or is Xbox just stubborn / incompetent / whatever else you want to say about them? Bit of that too.
Yeah.
It seems like a no-brainer for Xbox to create their own branded Direct style streams, which is what Inside Xbox is, dude. But it is also easy to imagine Microsoft being a bit clueless and sticking to one show per year around E3 time. We kind of did just extensively talk about this.
Yeah, we've covered this.
It's not about the format, it's about the content. But she said, like, if Microsoft just started pumping out a new game a month and these games were generally well received, then everyone would get excited every time there was an Inside Xbox.
Yeah.
They just would.
For the record, you're never going to see Microsoft step away from the big mid-year E3 splurge. That is their jam, and I personally think out of all of the three, they put on the best show in terms of content. But yeah. Anyway,
so we talked about it. Okay. DO game. Nintendo recent Direct has elicited rather mixed to negative responses, both outside and within the Nintendo community. Yes, they have. Traditional conferences and events such as the Game Awards have also not lived up to the hype for many. Well, yeah, there's other reasons for that. With Xbox finding great success through shadow drops and coordinated releases, should they focus less on Inside Xbox copying state of play Nintendo Direct and focus instead on regular news updates throughout the year? I love the updates Double Fine, 343 and Ninja Theory put out, and if we could say get that level of transparency on Fable, Avowed or Perfect Dark with news for a big title every month, teasers and trailers, I think it could go a long way. I don't know. Am I off base here?
I think we kind of covered this as well.
We just talked about it again. Like,
look at that, with great minds.
Really, from Proven's question, and we talked about it. Like, again, we did. I'm sorry, we did. We covered this. We talked about it. So
we love you, but we kind of have answered your question. So, but it's a good question, and that's why we talked about it so much.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, Keras. Now I'm gonna go and buy. I'm gonna go and buy a pipe and a robe, a silk robe, and a monocle. And every time Keras asks the question, I'm just going to be, get the pipe out,
you need
get
like
the monocle out.
A really old-fashioned leather-bound book. And coming out, are we ready, children? Yeah. Then I'll begin.
Pipe. Okay. So, who does the panel think will be acquired? Only kidding, it's good for morale. I have had a wonderful week this week. Some great in real life stuff happening. I have been buoyed by the responses on XboxEra and elsewhere to Kate Raynor, tech director of the coalition, being out and happy.
Yeah, congrats
I
to
knew
her.
there was something we were going to... We do this every single time. We sit down, we try and think of stuff. Oh, what do we need? And then someone asks it in community questions and it reminds us. Yes.
Yeah. Congrats.
Kate Raynor, the tech director, came out as trans. Good for her. And Phil was very supportive, which was good.
Yep.
It's always good to see.
Yep.
No one wants an unsupportive boss. Tell you that much.
We've all got them. Sorry,
man. The thread about anxiety and depression has been wonderful to read and made me cry happy tears more than once. That's good too. It's very good. I mean, crying's not good unless it's happy tears.
Or depression and anxiety, but the fact that we were actually all talking about it,
they're not good.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
Man, I'm fumbling my way through this one. And to top that all off, I have massively enjoyed Fuser, which is free to try this weekend. Keras is not affiliated with Harmonix, which is so unapologetically fun and colourful and daft and just about the joy of music and the joy of combining that with game mechanics to make us all feel like amazing DJs. I have not played Fuser. I hear good things, but I've played DJ Hero. Is it hugely different to DJ Hero? Do we know?
I've watched a couple of clips because Tub Thumping was added, but I don't know enough about it, and unfortunately, I did not get a chance to get on it this weekend. I think it's. Wait, is it this weekend?
I hear good thing.
Oh, maybe I can. I'll try and give it a download tonight. Maybe. I would certainly like to try it. I loved Harmonix's games. I miss Guitar Hero.
Yeah, same here. Dance Central's amazing.
Yeah, they've always been really good at what they do.
But DJ Hero was good, and that's a DJing one. That's why I was like, is it just like DJ Hero, or is it something different? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that's not the question. We still have to ask the question. What have been your recent gaming highs this past week or so? Keras.
Okay. Well, before I answer, a very quick shout out on that thread. Not only to every community member that piped up and kickstarted the discussion, because genuinely, as the folks that run the site, seeing our community grow over the last, I don't know, how long has the forum's been live? A year? Less than a year. But seeing people getting to this kind of familiar space and just having the conversation is awesome. And mad props to Jamie ODST for actually piping up and being the first to sort of, break the silence and share a little bit. Now, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. In terms of gaming high, I kind of touched on it at the beginning, and I touched upon it in my review for Little Nightmares 2. I've had 2 this week. One I can't talk about, so I'm just going to leave that there. The other one, the end of Little Nightmares 2, and again, I need to be really careful, but there's a bit, and we mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Joseph Ferez and his games from Hazelight, right? In that every one of their games has had that moment where it doesn't give you a cutscene or do a thing.
It turns
the gameplay mechanic on its head.
Yeah.
And makes you, through the medium of video games, go, and you feel something. And that is what happened in Little Nightmares 2. And I really want to talk about it, and I'd love to have like a spoiler cast where I can discuss this in depth.
That was me with BioShock.
Oh, yeah. It's old enough. Would you kindly?
Would you kindly? Oh my god.
Amazing. Right? And that's
ever.
That's where video games are just like, oh, so cool. So that for me.
You couldn't, Would You Kindly would not have worked in literally any other form.
No.
It just wouldn't have worked. Like it can only happen in video games. That was just the greatest.
So cool.
Greatest ever. Like, I'll never forget that. Yeah. But in the last week or so, Ori 6K. And the fact that 4K is now blurry for me.
I take that as a negative. You've ruined the latest technology. Oh no.
It was so sharp in that downsampled 6K. My God, it was so nice. And I've got to say though, like, I was legitimately surprised at the general gaming community response to Kate Raynor, like, because we know how horrible trademark gamers are.
Yep.
and I was actually genuinely surprised in a good way.
Yeah.
At the response to that.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing worse than having to hide
who you are.
Yeah. No, it's horrible. It's horrible. So I was pleasantly surprised at the general gaming community response to that. It was good. And the fact that Phil probably helped with that.
Yeah.
Phil being that way probably helped a lot with that. It was good.
Thanks
for that question, Gareth.
What about you, Figments?
Oh, yeah.
Any gaming
Figments,
highs?
Yes.
Gaming highs.
This week? It's got to be this week. Something that's really...
Week or so.
Wowed me, right?
Yeah, it gave you that kind of buzz that only gaming can give you.
That's... coming back to win a search and destroy match in Black Ops after going 0-5 for the last, 30 minutes.
Oof.
And just wishing you were playing literally anything else. But then you sit up in your chair, you lean forward, you look at the screen, and you make sure that mic is turned on, and you tell everybody, okay, we're gonna freaking do something here because we have to. We can't let them embarrass us like this. So you come back from that 0-5 to win 6-5, and
do you know what that's called?
Probably one of...
You've engaged the rage, my friend. That moment where any gamer goes from this to this. You're engaging the rage, and that was a regular Halo thing for me. Like, I go through the 4 stages of hate, sadness.
I just love those moments because
rage.
I just love those moments because it's like those are the moments I live for when I play competitive games.
Yeah.
Just the moments of I'm hyper tuned in. I am trying my best to do everything I can to win this game because if I lose this game, I'm going to feel like absolute garbage because, and it's just, especially when it's up against people who aren't taking you seriously at all and are just pissing you off and freaking people think teabagging is ridiculous. Like, why would you ever get mad at teabagging? But when it happens, when some guy's doing it, he's 5 points ahead of you in the game, and it's hard for you to make up that difference, and he's starting to freaking make fun of you. It's like, no. This is not gonna happen. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to freaking show. I'm going to show you that
I'm going to confess something here. So I play Rocket League.
Probably like Rocket League, yeah.
I play Rocket League weekly with 10K. He's part of the XboxEra team, and Rocket League has infamously become known as probably being one of the most toxic communities on the planet.
Yep.
It's unfortunate because I love Rocket League to death, and it's unfortunate how toxic it is. And, given my age, I do have to do my best to act mature if I can. And, in Rocket League, you get those little sly, snide remarks, and when you get that really toxic teammate, you have bad games, like in any sport, right? You have bad games.
Yeah.
Anyone who's played sport knows you just have bad games. And, you get this really toxic teammate where if you don't save a goal, miss an easy shot, and they start with the wows and the nice shot and the what a saves. So when I play with 10K, sometimes we'll be absolutely pummeling a team and they refuse to quit. So sometimes I'll throw in, we'll score some goal and I'll throw in a calculated. I'll be like, calculated, just to sort of push them over the edge to make sure they just forfeit the match. 9 out of 10 times it works. Wow. So I do admit to sometimes.
Oh my god, my favorite matches last year in Modern Warfare were the games where it was even throughout, right? Like we were trading matches and trading rounds and search and destroy. So it's pretty even throughout. And these guys would have us for a few rounds. They'd have us in a corner and it seems like we can't really do anything to get out of it. And then they start taunting us. And then we come back and win the match. We look at the post-game scoreboard. They all left the match. All of them. They're all gone.
Glorious.
Because they didn't want to stick around and hear us taunt them.
Yeah.
And it's oh my god.
Man,
it's Wow, how big babies are you that you just can't take some taunting?
Salty as
Man,
sore losers.
I remember back in Halo Reach days playing doubles with my mate Bart, and we were 21. The opposite team had 21. We had 3. We were getting.
Oh God.
To coin a phrase, we were getting absolutely destroyed, right? And it was like, and I'd gone through my 4 stages of, and then the moment happened. He just said to me, "Oh, bro," I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Have you engaged the rage yet?" I was like, "I haven't engaged the rage." So I leant forward, right? And it was honestly, these guys were teabagging. They were calling us every word that I can't say on this podcast under the sun. It was horrific. I was so close to rage quitting, but we engaged the rage. 25-21, ultimate comeback. And it was, and they stayed in. I've got to give them that. They stayed in.
Oh,
and all they got was, it was ridiculous. Feels so good. And that's like, those are the things that stick with you when you play.
Those highs, and like, it's probably similar to what a professional athlete feels when they beat like a really tough team. Just that feel of like, oh my God, we actually did it, even though I'm pretty sure we probably shouldn't have. But like, you get it in gaming so much more just because like the frequency of matches is just back to back to back to back. You're freaking playing like 6 hours a night. You can get 50 games in.
Yeah.
And just have like half of them are garbage and you feel like crap, but the other half are like glory kills, just like, oh my God. And I don't think there's any other medium on planet Earth that can give that level of high of just sustained, like, I can play this game.
I have to admit, while we've been chatting, I've actually logged onto the forums and given Keres an updated custom title because of this question.
Yeah.
Because she deserves it. So, anyway.
Okay.
Next question. Good question, as always.
Next. Torn Raptor. Hi, guys. Seeing the new Mario Golf being announced, that leaves me wishing there were some unique sports titles on Xbox. I would love to see similar games utilizing Xbox characters, just not avatars. I would like a SSX, like with Xbox Game Studios characters to start with. What sport titles would you like to see, if any? We've talked about this too. When someone asked us a question about genres that Microsoft's missing, and we brought up sports titles, NFL Blitz, Sega Soccer Slam,
tennis,
that sort of style. We said we think that's a genre they're missing. Like, not obviously professional sports games because EA's got those on lock and 2K.
Yeah.
But yeah, those fun, quirky NFL Blitz, NBA Jam, Sega Soccer Slam, Death Row, and Nintendo's got Mario Golf, Mario Tennis. Yeah, Microsoft, I think, should be looking at those. We've talked about this before. They should definitely, I don't know if they use Microsoft's characters per se. They're not Nintendo.
Yeah.
But I think they should be pursuing that extreme sports angle. No official teams because there's no point paying for the licenses. Like, Sega Soccer Slam is one of the best soccer games ever, and it doesn't have real teams.
Yeah.
Ditto Mario Strikers, same developer. Mario Strikers on Nintendo. If the game is good enough and it's one of those fun extreme sports titles, I don't think you need the official licenses. Like, NBA Street wasn't amazing because it had real players. NBA Street was amazing because it was just an amazing sports game.
Yeah.
If I was playing with the Chicago Bulls or if I was playing with some made-up team, wouldn't have mattered to me. The game was just amazing to play. So, agreed. They should do it. I just don't know if they should use Xbox characters per se.
Yeah, I don't think people talk about doing like a Smash version, like PlayStation All Stars.
That's Killer Instinct.
And Killer Instinct is that. That's the only world I can see where some characters can fit in across the board. But other than that, yeah, cool.
Yeah, and yeah, I think, did we talk about this in the last episode? Because Jez kind of, Jeremy spoiled the thunder. How there was a podcast we did where I said something's not dead.
Yeah.
And then I told Jeff Grubb, I posted about it on Twitter.
Yeah, about Killer Instinct.
I did. I posted about it on Twitter. Killer Instinct was the game I was talking about that's not dead.
Yeah.
And I told Jeff Grubb, You can confirm it with him. He retweeted my tweet. That's confirmation.
Yeah.
Killer Instinct's not dead. And again, the reason I didn't want to mention it publicly, because like Jez said, there's no developer attached. Microsoft aren't
no new
officially
news.
doing. Yeah, there's no news about it. They're just not done with it.
Yeah, they know that it was really loved.
They're probably waiting on the opportunity, is what.
Yeah, I'm sure they want to do something with it. It's just not dead and buried. That's all.
Yeah.
But now you can see why I didn't want to say anything publicly, because if I said it,
God, could you?
There would have been an article. Killer Instinct's coming out next week. Blah blah blah. I wasn't.
Killer Instinct becomes a Microsoft fighting All Stars or something.
Yeah. That's why I never wanted to say anything.
Fair.
Okay. Next question is by Nodian. With the Xbox wireless headset being an update on the old Xbox headset, do we expect more hardware updates this early on the generation? For example, I think we all expect an Elite version 3 at some point, but I've not seen any hints to suggest it's in the works. Thanks, team. Yeah, I'd love an Elite version 3 that incorporates haptics. The haptics in the DualSense are great. The adaptive triggers can piss off because they're not good at all. And anyone that says otherwise needs their head examined.
Do they?
But the haptics, the haptics are amazing when used properly.
I don't think you're going to see an Elite V3 anytime before 2024.
Well, how many years were there between the 1 and the 3 and the 2?
3 or so, maybe.
Because remember, they also did the in-between white one, which had some tweaks to it.
I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
I think for now they'll stick with the headset. I don't think, because they don't need a new chat pad, because the chat pad's there. Yeah, the only thing I envision is potentially an Elite 3 that has like the haptics and stuff. And maybe
I just want an Elite controller where the bumper. I just want an Elite controller where the bumpers don't break on me within friggin' 6 months. Like
these have been much better on my Elite 2 than they were on the Elite 1.
Really? Because mine broke. My Elite 2 bumpers broke after 6 months, and that was outside the warranty period, and now I can't get them replaced. And it just sucks because
6 months
you pay
is outside the warranty period.
I think the warranty period is like a month.
They've changed that, dude. They updated that even in the States. You should probably reach back out to them and say, hey.
Well, I mean, I bought it more than a year ago,
America
so at this point, even if they extended it a year, it's like
fair enough.
Like whatever.
Fair enough.
But it's just you make a controller that costs $180, and I'm not the only one I know that has a problem with the bumpers. It's me and like a couple of my other friends too also have problems with the bumpers dying or becoming hard to click after a few months. And it's like when you're playing Call of Duty and the right bumper is the grenade button and you always use frags, being able to hold down the bumper is necessary because I need time to cook.
Paddles at the back.
I use the paddles for jump and reload. I never touch the basically maxed out.
I use the paddles for the grenades in COD. I do anyway. But yes, given the backwards compatibility of the accessories, and they've just done some new ones, probably not.
Yeah, I don't think there's much, and I don't think there's any surprises I can think of. The headset was a pleasant one, but we knew that something was coming of that nature. I don't know of any others. Oh, I can't think of anything.
I was dumb enough to think that thing was a collaboration with. I was dumb enough to think that the headset was a collaboration with Bang & Olufsen until I saw the price. Once I saw the price, I was like, okay, well, clearly that's not. They're not the Bang & Olufsen ones, because Bang & Olufsen have the dial thing too.
Yeah.
On their headphones. So when I saw the dial, I forgot about the Surface headphones. I immediately saw Bang & Olufsen because they looked very similar to the Bang & Olufsen ones.
Do you know what they could do?
Yeah.
One thing, you've got the normal pad for $60, and you've got the normal now headset for $99, and you've got the expensive pad for $150 or whatever it is. Will they do
expensive headset?
And that's what might come from Bang & Olufsen. Who knows? Don't know. But that would be my guess if I was a guessing.
But this one supports DTSX, it supports Atmos, it supports Windows Sonic.
Yeah, I don't know what else they can add to it. There's fewer audio files that want the best of the best, right?
Yeah, I know, but like, unless the build quality on this thing is absolute garbage, I don't see why you'd worry about getting anything else for $99, unless you're a full-blown audiophile that absolutely just has to have
the best of the best.
Whatever.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Blast the Bass. When is the XboxEra merch store opening up? I need to bolster my wardrobe, and my most popular tweets are the ones where I'm wearing your merch.
Well, funnily enough, if you've been paying attention
I don't know
to this
what
episode,
that says about his tweets.
He always tweets out when he gets some of the merch through from the Patreon. If you've been paying attention this episode, you might have noticed that I'm representing. Get the microphone out of the way. You had me at Halo. And this is from the XboxEra merch store, which is there. It's just you can't see it yet. And you know what? Just because you've asked this question, by the time you're listening to this podcast, we'll launch it. So I'll launch it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we'll.
It's our shadow drop. We're doing our first shadow drop.
Shadow drop.
Here's the XboxEra merch store. Now. Give us all of your money. I will say that we've already had some discussions, because here's the thing with being an Xbox community site. For us to make t-shirts, we can't really, like, the t-shirt Nick's wearing, right, is featuring some rather Microsoft owned intellectual properties. They might get a bit cross if we ever try to sell that to you. So we're going to come up with cool ways to acknowledge certain communities within XboxEra and within the Xbox platform, doing very cool and unique things. So we've got some initial stuff up there, but we're not going to rest on our laurels. Every t-shirt we've got has been designed by our fantastic visualization specialist, Pre-Drag. I love that job title. It's awesome. Visualization specialist. Brilliant.
I have drawn a pirate in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, Nick's special t-shirt.
On Rare's trademarks.
Okay, you haven't, but now I actually really want you to do that, and we'll make that t-shirt just so people can Paint.
I've got a Surface. I'll just draw straight onto the screen.
Please, I want to see it. Nick's special t-shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, you can look forward to see that. We'll update the site tomorrow and push that to life. But yeah, it's coming, and this t-shirt is very cool and very comfortable. Good question.
Last question by Big M Iced Coffee Milk. I love that name so much. I also love Big M Iced Coffee. Do you guys think that Xbox will put ZeniMax's entire back catalogue into Game Pass, or will it only be the new games? Because I've been debating with myself if I should buy Fallout 4 now or hope that it will come to Game Pass sometime in the future. I thought Fallout 4 was already in Game Pass. It left, but I thought it was in Game Pass, wasn't it?
I don't know if it's left and not come back, but yeah, when this deal closes, everything Bethesda has ever owned will appear in Game Pass for sure.
For sure.
It's a no-brainer. 100% hold fire. You'll own it via Game Pass soon enough.
I could have sworn that Fallout 4 was on Game Pass for a bit.
Well, I'm pretty sure it left because it was one of the big ones in 2019.
Yeah, I'm looking at an article now from Windows Central saying that Fallout 4 left Game Pass, and that was back in almost a year ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fallout 4 was there at one point. Yeah. Oh, it'll come back. Yeah,
it'll come back.
Probably
with a 60 FPS update.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But for sure, I think they'll go through the back catalogue and put it all on. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
They'd be crazy not to. So yes. Okay, that's it for Patreon.
Shall I have?
I think we're doing okay time-wise too.
Yeah. Shall I? I'll load up the old Twitteroo. I'm going to cherry pick some of these. Oh, you got them?
I've got them up.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got it all up. Do we go to the forum first or Twitter?
Let's cherry pick the Twitter and we'll end on the forum. Pick some good ones.
So, at Mustafa 200320. Hey, hope you guys doing well. 1, what are your thoughts on the Planet of the Apes game tied to Bethesda? Any exclusivity for Xbox on that game?
What?
Now, yeah. like I read this question before we started recording because I have not heard anything about a Planet of the Apes game tied to Bethesda or Planet of the Apes game at all. And then looked into it, and apparently there's a 4chan leak. 4chan leak that said Disney want to do something with Planet of the Apes. They're probably going to do a Planet of the Apes game, and apparently it might be Bethesda doing it. That's it. I don't know how a Planet of the Apes game would work. Like, what would it even be? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Does anyone really want a Planet? Those movies were great.
Yeah, they were all actually legitimately good films.
They were so good. Those newer ones. But God, a game.
Would you play as a human or as an ape?
I'll wait for Game Pass. That happens. I'll wait. Try it on Game Pass. What are the must-play games for you guys on Xbox? Thank you. I'm really enjoying the podcast. Great work. Must-play games. You know, Ori, Sunset, Titanfall.
Yeah.
Rocket League.
Halo, Master Chief Collection.
Not Sea of
Thieves. Definitely. If you've got friends. If you don't have friends, Ed doesn't have any friends. Or if you don't like sailing or being a pirate or trolling people.
That's all.
Yeah.
Forza,
Horizon.
And there's lots. I mean, look, subscribe to Game Pass, man. There's a lot there to try out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There's a lot. There's like over 250 games there for you to try out.
Plenty there to pick
okay. Brad Ward fight. Do you think Xbox will have any first-party titles before Halo in November? If so, when? Safe to say yes.
Yes.
Safe to say yes. That's a pretty short and sweet. If so, when? Who the hell knows?
I don't think you'll see. I think you'll see Psychonauts 2 will probably be first up. 2. And it will. If I was guessing, I would put it somewhere mid to late summer. If I was a guessing man.
Okay. At Mortar for Gamers. What the hell is going on with Silent Hill?
We covered that. We've got no idea.
Sorry, Megale. We covered it, mate. When will... at MDHX 2_. When will EA Play come to the Game Pass on PC? And why is no one talking about this? This should have been the second biggest controversy after gold prices, yet no one is criticizing MS for it. Yes, we know things take time, but it is almost 4 months since the original debut date. I don't know. I know that this was supposed to happen, wasn't it?
As I understand it, and I have no first-hand information, everything I've heard is probably second or third, there is some sort of back-end problem. And if I were to guess, I would be looking at the Windows Store and going, you're fucking everything up for everybody again, aren't you? With connecting Origin and all of that stuff together. So I don't know, and I've not heard a sausage on it. That's a very British phrase, by the way, in case you're wondering who says that. British people do. Yeah, I think it's a good thing to call out, you know. Let's ask the question.
You just gave me a tangent.
Oh, no.
You gave me a tangent. Are you watching the Australian Open at the moment?
No. Should I be?
Ugh, loser. Yes.
Sport.
Australian Open's great. So Uber Eats advertises a lot during the Australian Open, and they've got Sacha Baron Cohen doing ads for Uber Eats, and what he's doing is he's playing the part of an Australian tennis umpire. Brilliant. And he does the Australian accent brilliantly because he's married to an Australian, of course, Isla Fisher, so I assume that's rubbing off, and he's obviously got a great knack for now copying that accent. But man, those ads are funny. Like, there was one of them when I heard him say, because you talk about like England and Australia have a lot of similar jargon and lingo and all that sort of stuff. But there is one that's exclusively Australian that Sacha Baron Cohen said in one of these ads, and I cracked up laughing. And he was delivered his food, and he goes, "No wuckers," right? And again, only Australians will crack up laughing at no wuckers. So I'm assuming you, John, don't know what no wuckers is?
I'm drawing a blank.
So no wuckers.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So no wuckers, this is like a chain. So no wuckers is short for no wuckin' furries.
No. Okay. Yeah, I get you.
No Wuckin' Furries is no fucking worries.
Yeah.
Which is no worries. So it's gone from no worries all the way through to no wuckers. And when I heard Sacha Baron Cohen say it, it was one of the funniest things I had ever seen.
That's awesome.
Got to watch the Australian Open. Okay, so yes, that was. We don't know what's going on with EA Play.
Yeah, that's really weird, and I think they should be asked that question, right?
Yeah,
we'll try and make some noise on it. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we're getting through these pretty quick. At Nov to Salomed. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Salman Ahmed. Do you think Xbox will come with new DualSense controller in the future? Because as they had consumer survey, they did. They had a consumer survey about haptics and stuff like that. Had consumer survey, wish you conveyed the message to Xbox, keeping price affordable, not $100 controller customer like me stay in Bangalore, India, with taxes added controller cost if new DualSense is costly.
So basically, if they do come up with one with haptics and all of the other gyro stuff, is it going to cost like a shit ton of money?
It'll probably cost a lot. It would be the Elite.
Yeah, if they're going to do it, would be an Elite V3 for sure.
Yeah, and they'll gauge it.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Because I feel like I don't know, like the PS5 controllers don't cost more than the PS4 controllers didn't cost more than the Xbox One controllers, did they?
No, but the PS5 controllers cost more than the Xbox Series X controllers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's... Oh, are you talking specifically about the haptics? Because if it's just gyro, then I don't think it'll be a difference in the price.
Gyro,
haptics, gyro. Their survey that they did talked about those features potentially being added, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think it would ever be added to the base pad.
It would become in like if the Elite 3 took off with the haptics and they started getting used more often, then I think the next Xbox's controller would
have them as default,
have them in there as standard. Yeah. Because now that's 2 out of 3 have haptics now. Nintendo got them, Sony's got them, and when done well, the problem is they're not done well often, and the good examples are few and far between. That's the problem.
Yeah,
that is the problem. Astrobot's amazing. Such great use of the haptics. So good. At Shoulder Winter, the Winter Shoulder. Hey, as a big fan of Japanese games, I still see a lot of titles missing the platform, like Guilty Gear Strive, Disgaea, I don't know how to pronounce that, and the Wise series. Will Xbox be more aggressive with getting more Japanese publishers on board through Game Pass deals? It sucks missing out on so many games. I hinted at that, saying that, Yakuza's not the only Sega franchise that they're looking to do that with. I think that's what Game Pass, that's one of the avenues they're using for Japan, Game Pass.
Yeah.
Hey, take a cash upfront payment. Maybe we'll even pay for the port. And you've got access to 20 million people that can play your game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what Game Pass is going to do.
Especially considering the mobile first outlook of Japan's game market.
Yeah.
xCloud is, with the Switch being so popular, xCloud will be way more popular than an Xbox ever was.
In terms of which ones we're going to get, I don't think you're going to see them pay for ports of like niche fighting games.
No.
It'll
be the big
no
Virtua
Fighter, no.
After they buy Sega, they'll be getting Virtua Fighter.
Hey.
Yeah, but will you ever see a new Virtua Fighter? No.
Yes, that's another one of my things I'm bringing back.
Okay, we'll add it to the list.
Virtua Fighter is on my list. I can make it all happen.
Yeah, sure you can. Whatever you say.
Next question. Now, with the next question, Aldrich, I am going to direct you to our first episode, our pilot episode of the XboxEra podcast. The question he asks, what is the reason that you got interested in Xbox / got you into the Xbox ecosystem? We all talk about that in our very first episode.
So definitely go back and watch it. And interesting fact, it's not actually the very first episode.
Yes, it's not. Because we
The very
recorded
first
an episode,
episode,
something happened.
I screwed everything up, and it was ruined forever. And we didn't want to talk about it all again, so we did another one.
Yeah, we had to do another one. Do we still have a copy of that first episode?
Don't think so.
Who knows?
The lost
Can't remember.
episode.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
we
definitely go
do
back and
talk
watch it.
about why. I mean, Halo gets mentioned a lot, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Halo's a big reason for most people.
Yeah.
Okay, at the Bacon Life 1, do you think Xbox will ever have its own Souls-type game from Software or anyone else? PlayStation has 3 more than them. Also, I hate to keep asking, but have you heard anything about new achievements being updated anyway? We don't know about anything about achievements.
No.
as
Unless Microsoft
to-
buy the developers of the
From-
guys that made The Surge. What was it, Deck 13? I swear they've already been acquired.
Yeah.
I swear they've been acquired
know.
by someone.
I don't know.
I don't...
Probably
Let's look it up
Embracer.
right now.
Probably Embracer.
Yeah.
Embracer owns everyone.
So,
I
Let's
want
see.
to know where they're getting that money from.
Tencent.
Ever have their own Souls game? Oh, I mean, look, I don't think maybe doing a deal with From to get an exclusive Xbox game is out of the realms of possibility sometime in the future. It just depends on whether
okay.
Microsoft's willing to throw the money at it.
Deck 13. Deck
Ultimately.
13 is owned by Focus Home Interactive.
That is...
And aren't they owned by Embracer?
Yes.
No, Focus Home is not
No?
owned by Embracer.
Oh, okay.
Nope, they're
Focus
their
Home-
own. They're their own publisher.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, unless they buy Focus Home
So, yeah.
or do a deal,
Yeah.
you never know.
Okay. We've sort of covered this next question before. At JDudley86, what new studio not named 343 or Coalition is the most important for the Xbox brand going forward, and why?
Ninja Theory.
We've spoken about this many times. Ninja Theory, I think.
I'm inclined to agree.
Their talent is ridiculous, and now they have money to back that talent.
They will do some cool shit.
At Dave_Warhammer, say Starfield does release this year as an Xbox exclusive.
Yes to both.
What do you think the release date would be? I'm thinking before Halo and Black Friday, like September or October. With next-gen consoles available by then, it's pretty important Xbox has some big exclusives to sway people's choice. Yeah, it'll be sometime the end of the year, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because I think with Game Pass now, you don't have to worry about, they're going to clash. The games are going to clash. With Game Pass, that doesn't matter anymore. You know what? Maybe they'll release same day. But someone did reply to that tweet saying that Skyrim came out November 11th, 2011. How funny would that be if we got Starfield November 11 and then Halo November 15?
Yeah.
So those anniversary dates. But again, with Game Pass, you can do that. There's no more clashing anymore.
It's true.
So yeah, that's fine. Now, last question on Twitter. So we're getting through pretty quick. Our friend Jay Singh at JSing10J. Can we, again, we've talked about this. Can we now officially say that Xbox is the home of Western RPGs? Playground Games, Fable, Obsidian, Avowed, Bethesda, Elder Scrolls, Starfield, Inexile, Steampunk RPG, Roundhouse Studios, probably RPG as well, Techland and Larian Studios. When? We've spoken about this. They are fully leaning into WRPG and FPSs.
Yeah.
In the same way a certain other publisher leans into third-person over-the-shoulder, slow walk and talk, narrative-driven experiences.
Yes.
Microsoft are leaning into FPS and Western RPG, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think we answered that question. Look, I apologize if sometimes we breeze through questions or point you in another direction, but we've got to do something. Like, we get a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So if we feel we have covered something a lot in the past,
Then we're not
that's
going
probably
to cover
going
it
to
in
be
the
our
questions.
answer.
Yeah.
I guess just become a regular watcher and you'll see us cover your questions in episodes, because we really, really do. So we're going quite nicely. So now to the forum. Liam S. Have you guys seen the rumor that Obsidian might be working on a Conquer game? Brandon Adler might be directing it. As on LinkedIn, he says he's the game director on an unannounced title, in brackets, which isn't Avowed. He left working on that to work on this unannounced title. A new Conquer game by Obsidian is something I didn't know I wanted, but now I do. They did a great job with South Park. And a second question. Do you think the ZeniMax teams will start expanding aggressively once the acquisition closes? Machine Games is apparently building up a second team already for the Indiana Jones game. Is it possible that after Wolfenstein 3 is released, that team will be working on another licensed property from Lucasfilm? You guys have said previously that you don't think Indiana Jones is the only licensed title ZeniMax are working on, if I understood what you said correctly. Awesome podcast, guys. I always enjoy watching it on Sundays. Yeah, I saw this Obsidian Conquer thing float. Surely.
Do you know, I kind of, now he's mentioned it, I think, oh yeah, they did do South Park, and they did nail the humour.
Yeah.
And Conquer was quite funny.
South Park was great.
And you think about what Conquer was, it was a bunch of different types of games, as well as a platformer. That would be an interesting developer to turn it on its head. And cause,
I would have thought Double Fine.
Yeah and no.
I would have thought Double Fine.
I don't know. Like, it's very meme-worthy. Right? That's what Conquer was. And, you know, I'd be intrigued. I don't hate the idea. I've not heard anything on it, but I don't hate the idea at all.
As to ZeniMax, yes. Like all Microsoft studios, they'll expand. And yes, we have said that Microsoft are talking to Lucasfilm and looking at the IP and what they could do. Now, you said you don't think Indiana Jones is the only licensed title ZeniMax are working on. If you're referring to what I think you're referring to, what I said was we were speculating on stuff. Like, no one knows what ZeniMax Online's next game is. No one knows. Like, and if you look at what they're hiring for, it doesn't seem to lend to an MMO, what they're working on next. So is it something that is being licensed by Lucasfilm? I don't know. Not too sure. I'll try and find out. But yeah. This, we haven't really covered this, but we kind of have. Quantonox. Hey guys, nearly every major publisher is supporting Game Pass, but one giant publisher is missing, and that is Activision. What are your theories? Why Activision has not decided to support Game Pass? Because, I don't know, Activision virtually just do COD, and COD has marketing with Sony.
Yeah.
I know they have
coming back with what, Crash Bandicoot and stuff, but that's
Tony Hawk.
But even then, all the marketing is with Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I assume that's got something to do with it.
Yeah.
Most likely, especially knowing how Sony is. Ruthwick Wow. Hello, guys. For now, I'll be limiting myself to one question. Thanks. Do you guys think Microsoft has any plans of investing in television/movies based on their gaming IP in the future? We know that Halo is being made over at Primetime. Isn't that Showtime?
Showtime.
Do you think or have heard of any plans for a future where they hand their other growing IPs as well to different companies, like what Sony is doing right now with Last of Us and Uncharted? Granted, Sony has more experience here, but neither Apple or Amazon had media experience, yet Prime Video is doing really well, and Apple TV seems to be taking off bit by bit. It does not need to be a whole ass streaming platform like these guys, but just giving these other houses their IP for non-game related entertainment might be interesting. I'm thinking a TES, Elder Scrolls, TV show, or a Perfect Dark movie, or a Battletoads cartoon, which that game virtually already was.
Yeah.
Thanks and love you guys. Looking forward to the podcast. I mean, Microsoft dabbled in this.
Yeah, they
already. With Halo specifically as well.
Yeah, you got to think, when they announced the Xbox One, they announced an entire team led by Shannon Loftus for TV media consumption, right? Look at what's happened to it. Yeah. It died after like the first 2 years, if that. Nothing ever came out of it apart from the Quantum Break stuff. They are working on Halo with Showtime for that show. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
We know that the Gears movie is in pre-production somewhere, but it's not off the ground yet. But it's there. I just don't see them. Microsoft with this generation, they are very laser focused on being about video games and Game Pass. That is it. They're not going to stretch out other places with lower IPs in terms of value than the big ones, which is Halo.
They did the Viva Pinata cartoon, remember?
They did, yeah, good shout.
Well,
yeah. I think they've probably just been stung too many times to do that, but Halo is the one IP that has enough global reach to do well.
Cachet.
Yeah. No, we've done that episode.
Cachet.
I'm not even
okay.
going to acknowledge it anymore at this point. Just let him have his fun.
In reference to that word, it is cachet. When you're talking about what's the other words?
Can we not argue about how words pronounced?
Clout. When you're referring to clout and that sort of thing, I thought cachet was the actual word in that context.
Well, it's always...
It's not case. It's not cash.
It's cash.
Cash.
No, but it's not cash either. I'm sure it's
Stop!
cachet.
No, we're not doing this again. Please see episode 40.
PG2G. Any thoughts on when the game streaming service will be updated to the Series X APUs? Have production issues impacted the timeline? Probably yes. Yeah. And I'd still say by the end of this year.
Yeah.
I still think by the end of this year.
I think probably early next year.
I assume
if the timelines have been impacted, and they're still gradually rolling out xCloud using the old Xbox One X stuff. So I think probably early next year, middle next year. I don't see it late this year, especially with COVID having impacted everyone's schedules.
Yeah. Okay, Beast Mode 10. Special Ed keeps mentioning that Ninja Theory will be the studio to watch out for. See, some people do watch. This makes me wonder, is Rare being ignored? Their animation for the water section in Sea of Thieves and the artwork in the trailer for the upcoming Everworld suggest they are being very bold in the aesthetics department. Are they the dark horse within Xbox Game Studios? It's a two-part question. I've always said that, actually I posted on the forum saying that Rare is one thing that Rare can't be questioned with is their technical capability.
Yeah,
even Banjo Nuts and Bolts. Banjo Nuts and Bolts was a stunning game, and the world was massive, and the draw distance was ridiculous for what Xbox 360 could do. The texture work on Perfect Dark Zero and Cameo and Banjo, Rare's technical capability has never been in question, ever. Rare's issue was always games. I've said Ninja Theory in terms of the new studios.
Yeah.
Rare has always had a budget. Let's not forget that either.
Yeah. Even the Kinect sports games were gorgeous to look at games.
Oh, that wave racing, the jet skiing part of Kinect Sports Rivals, my God. How is that not a game on its own?
I know. Do you know, when I first tried that at an Xbox One launch event, you could play it on pad and ignore the Kinect, and it was awesome. But they removed that feature from the retail.
That would have been that needs to be a game. And with Kinect on 360, they split off those games into their own arcade games. They needed to do the same with Kinect Sports Rivals. Release that control version. Be amazing.
Yeah.
But all I've ever said was, in terms of the new studios, Ninja Theory has generally always worked on shoestring budgets.
Yeah.
And done incredible things despite it. That's why I talk about Ninja Theory so much.
Yeah, I think Everwild, if the game looks anything like the trailer, I think it's timeless. I think Sea of Thieves right now is a timeless looking game. I will load that up 5 years from now and be like, this still looks fantastic. It's jaw-dropping at times, but that's a combination of lighting, art direction, and that's what Rare is great at. So any studio that nails those things, it's the games, funnily enough, that go for hyper realism that end up
aging.
Yeah, worse, I think.
That's why Wind Waker keeps getting redone.
Just constantly.
That's why Wind Waker just keeps getting redone because of that art style. Also, I know Halo fans don't want to hear this, but it is a blessing and a curse to work on Bungie's games, especially because the fans are passionate and super demanding and psycho. It is high time for 343 to have two projects running simultaneously. Look, I'm a Halo fan too, so I'm lumping myself in the psycho thing, but Sprint needs to stay in. And history... So 343 to have two projects running simultaneously with one focused on creating brand new non-Halo IP. I don't think people are judging 343 fairly, and history has also shown that this is possible. The studio like Guerrilla transitioning from making Killzone to Horizon Zero Dawn successfully. It brought them spotlight and allowed fans to see a brand new IP and truly appreciate the studio's talent. I wish that to happen with 343. P.S. Waiting for Xbox Era's interviews with some Xbox game studios. Please start with UK-based ones. Now, again, we've covered this. We've covered this many times, and don't forget, Guerrilla wasn't built with the intent to make Killzone games.
True.
That's a key difference between 343 and Guerrilla or Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog weren't bought so they could make Uncharted games. Naughty Dog were bought because they demonstrated that they make good games. 343 was built with the explicit purpose of looking after Halo. That's the difference. The reason you hear rumors about Coalition is because the Coalition weren't built to be the Gears studio.
They were they were rebranded to be it.
That's right. Black Tusk was built to be a AAA studio for Microsoft. They were working on whatever that spy thriller Shanghai thing was. And then they bought the Gears IP and said, okay, well, you guys are Gears now. That's why I could potentially see Coalition maybe doing something not Gears.
Yeah.
Maybe. Only because of that. But interviews with Xbox Game Studios?
Yeah, I'd love to do interviews with Xbox Game Studios. There's a couple of things. One, to touch on the 343 thing. Everything Nick said is accurate. But you've also got to bear in mind, and I mean this in the kindest way to Killzone, because I know you're a big fan, Ed, funnily enough.
Shadowfall. Only of Shadowfall.
It was never as big as Halo. It never would be as big as Halo. As much
wasn't
as
it the Halo killer though?
It tried, but it failed, right? But 343, even though they are 500 people strong, I can assure you, when the credits roll for Halo Infinite, whenever we get to play it later this year, we've already heard that it's one of the biggest projects Microsoft's ever undertaken. I bet you, my next paycheck, that there are a ton of support studios that helped out with that game way beyond the 500 developers.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's been, this is their statement, right? I think you're absolutely right. I don't think people have been particularly fair to 343. I also think 343 have made
they've made a hole for themselves.
Silly errors at times, but yeah, taking a game that was someone else's baby and making it your own is a hard thing to do because you want to put your own stamp on it, but then Halo fans are insane, so you can't. But it's a conundrum, but I don't think we'll ever see a world where they aren't working on something in the Halo universe. Yeah. They might work on two separate titles, especially as Halo Infinite is the decade of Halo, so what, we're not going to get another campaign for 10 years? What's going to happen there? We'll find out. I don't know. Good question.
Okay. Sir Bloodraven, do you think the Bethesda publishing arm will grow inorganically down the line? Now, and if yes, what studios do you think would be a good fit? Did he mean to say inorganically or did he mean to say organically?
I think what he's asking is, as Bethesda is being treated as its own entity, its own subsidiary in Xbox Game Studios, will they go out and make their own acquisitions inorganically? We're going to buy this developer to be a part of Bethesda under Xbox. That's how I read it. I
don't think so.
I don't know. Maybe. Shrug.
Yeah, I don't think so. If that's what he's asking, then I don't think so.
Yeah,
no,
I have no idea.
I think you'll just see Microsoft continue buying publishers and studios and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if these publishers will then go and buy studios. Yeah, I doubt it.
I don't know.
Stephen Panyagua. Hello, guys. Hope you had a relaxing week. Weather has been crazy. Not down here. My question is, with Stadia's future seeming dimming, dead, and Luna's future questionable, with the recent delay of New World and the article criticising their gaming sector, who else do you think could jump into the streaming wars independently from the current game platforms? EA and Activision probably could, but my big candidate is Embracer. Well, yeah, Jesus, it has to be Embracer, surely, with like 473 studios. They could partner with a smaller cloud service to provide them with the streaming technology. Right now, cloud computing is very dominated by the big three, and I feel like any of the smaller companies would kill for a big contract. So, we've talked about EA and acquisition, EA and Activision.
I'm starting to hate that word.
Could they do their own subscription service? I don't think they could because they don't have enough to justify it. Like, look how much third-party Microsoft puts into theirs.
Yeah.
I think Embracer's the one because Amazon, I don't think Luna is going to hang around. Like, this is how dumb, like, yeah, I call Microsoft dumb and they are, but like Google and Amazon are dumb too. Like, and Google and Amazon, you could argue, are dumber. Like, Google have YouTube to leverage and still failed.
Yep.
Amazon have Twitch and they don't leverage it. Like, how dumb? You've got Twitch, for God's sake, and you're not leveraging it at all. Like, that's even dumber than anything Microsoft's done.
You're killing John over there.
Like, seriously. So, yeah, Luna's probably not going to hang around for long because, you know, they've just got the biggest game streaming platform on the planet to leverage, and why the hell would you use that? Yeah, Embracer is probably the one. And you said could partner with a smaller cloud service? No. Well, Stadia is probably going to be a business-to-business solution as a game streaming platform. So I could see Embracer throwing Google a lifeline and saying that we're going to get our 473 studios to develop games for our streaming service,
which
the back
is
end. powered by
Stadia.
Maybe Microsoft will go for that contract. Maybe Amazon will go for that contract. I don't know. But Google has all but said that they're now going to be a business-to-business solution, like a back-end solution with Stadia. So maybe Embracer, but you're right. Embracer is the only one. With how many studios they've got, they could make more than enough content to support a streaming service.
You've got to think as well, the Stadia thing, the back-end solution is an interesting play because it doesn't matter who you're looking at, anyone, even Sony, outside of those players, they don't have that back-end infrastructure on Azure or the Google network, the home network and all that sort of thing. They don't have it. All right, so you've only got the big players with the big data centers that can support a streaming service. Stadia going the business-to-business route gives players like Embracer, EA, Activision the opportunity to do it. But whether they would or they just partner with an existing service,
don't have the content.
Yeah, EA and Activision definitely don't have the content, which is why EA is now coming to Game Pass.
That's right, and Ubisoft. That is why,
according to rumor,
Microsoft is spending all this money. Microsoft's not spending all this money just to keep releasing games on other platforms. It is for Game Pass and for xCloud and all that.
They're in it to win it, folks.
Yep. Okay.
We're down to the last.
Where's the next one? Few.
Yep. Oh God, I just kept on scrolling. I was like, last two. I was like, no, there's more.
Farsight XR20. In your opinion, do you think that Evil Within 3 by Tangleworks will ever happen?
Yes.
Tango Gameworks will ever happen? Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Evil Within 1 and 2 were really popular.
Yeah. Yep. Firmly believe it. There is absolutely... Like, Microsoft would be crazy. We've said this before. Microsoft would be crazy not to have their own Resident Evil. Crazy. Unless they buy Capcom. Now, Apache, here is my serious question. Did you have a not serious one? Nick will love this because he loves Skyward Sword. I do love Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword is one of the best Zeldas. I don't care what anyone says. I'm right. Hello, Xbox Era team. I don't know if you will discuss this, but I would love to hear your thoughts on the Nintendo Direct. We did talk about it. Nintendo has shown numerous times they are willing to get each and every penny out of our pocket. Yes, they do, and they do it well. A port for $60 is crazy, but it somehow works. It somehow works because it's Nintendo. Like, it's that simple.
Yeah, it's a combination of being Nintendo and a good game.
That's right. Like, they're not going to do it if the game sucks. Like, Skyward Sword was an amazing game. Like, and even if you're one of those weird people that thinks it was a bad Zelda game, Zelda games are amazing. So even a bad one, like, you're talking about the worst house in the best street, which is still probably going to be a great house.
That's great.
So
you're on fire.
You know,
oh,
yeah.
God.
Well, the normal saying is the best house in a bad street.
Yeah.
So with Zelda, maybe Skyward Sword is seen as the worst house in an amazing street.
Yeah.
You know, Mayfair, whatever, the worst house on Mayfair.
Yeah.
Is it Mayfair that's the good one in Monopoly?
Yeah, Mayfair Park Lane.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like having a shitty hotel in Mayfair. It's still going to be a good hotel.
Yeah.
I do wonder if Nintendo takes that as a sign to cancel the rumored collection of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and instead sell both games for full price. That is probably what they're going to do. You can probably bank on that one. I sure hope not, because I love Zelda. But what are your thoughts? One good thing is many will experience Skyward Sword for the first time. It's a really fantastic game. It is. And it's got that art style that will never age. And first Zelda to run at 60. Oh, boy. Can't wait. Phantom Fox. Given that the first batch of FPS boost games has released, what are some of your personal picks of games that you want to get this treatment? We talked about this. We did. Crackdown 3, Rise, Sunset Overdrive, Dead Rising 3, Forza Horizon 3. Any of those cool games that are 30. Stuck in 30 limbo. In hell. 30 hell. 30 is so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I can't go back to that garbage anymore. It's so bad. CRZYSPZ. I'm not even going to try and say that as a word. What do you think is the most likely dormant Xbox IP or IPs to return over the next few years? By dormant, I mean anything that hasn't had a release since 2013 or earlier. Killer Instinct. I personally think games like Viva Pinata, Phantom Dust, Zoo Tycoon, not including the re-release, Fusion Frenzy, and Conquer, that Obsidian rumor, could all find success in today's market. Banjo is an obvious pick too, but I think they'd move for a remake first. Yep, this is all stuff we've thought, like... how many times have we said Viva Pinata needs to come back? Viva Pinata would work so well now. Yes, Banjo as a full-blown remake would kill it. Kill it. Like, they have to be doing it, surely.
Yeah.
Banjo. I have said many times that I want Jet Force Gemini back as a Ratchet and Clank clone. I still would like that to happen. What else? What else do we think is going to come back? Stubbs the Zombie just came back, even though it's not theirs, but still.
Mech Assault. I really would love proper next-gen Mech Assault. But...
Mech Assault. Figments, what would you like back? Or what do you think is going to come back?
From the OG IP world.
You got Perfect Dark.
And you got Mech Assault.
And you got Fable.
We're getting Fable. We know Killer Instinct's not dead.
Because the thing is, I wasn't a big Microsoft exclusive person back in those days, so I don't know what old IP I'd want back in that regard.
Voodoo Vince 2.
I would want if I could have any IP come back,
Microsoft.
Tony Hawk's Underground. But I know the question is for Microsoft. I don't really know what Microsoft IP I want back.
You want? I'll answer for you. You want Freelancer to come back? No problem. You're welcome.
Yeah,
right up your street.
I don't even know what Freelancer
You'll
is.
love it. It's great. Next question.
Okay.
Peter 420. Peter 420. Especially this is at me specifically. Are you going to talk about God of War Ragnarok on this podcast? You mentioned 2 weeks ago that you were going to have some info on it. I didn't say that. I said I have some. I didn't say I'm going to have some. P.S. Hoping you guys start a weekly podcast. I need my weekly Rumour Mill segment. I don't even do the Rumour Mill every episode at this point. No, all I said was I know some stuff about God of War. Like there's right now the discussion around God of War is it going to be 2021? Is it going to be delayed to 2022? Blah, 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 blah. I have heard things about that, but I don't know if they're things I can say as yet. And again, it's not anything like it's again literally around the factors of whether it's a 2021 or 2022 game. In the end, let's be real here. God of War will either be end of 2021 or start of 2022. That's not controversial. It's probably going to be one of those two within that 3 month probably window. I'm just saying that I've heard some stuff about will it be, won't it be? That's it. It's nothing major. The Unsung Hero 26. What is Microsoft's best year as a publisher and why is it 2007?
Top work. Yeah, you're right. That's the answer. That's
What? Mass Effect, Halo 3.
Yeah.
What else? Crackdown.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, 2007 was a good year. BioShock came out that year as well, if memory serves. It wasn't published by.
Microsoft
Xbox,
did
but
publish that though. Okay, so let's have a look. Shadowrun,
that was
Age
good.
of Empires 3, Zoo Tycoon, Lost Odyssey, Forza Motorsport 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
It's a pretty good.
What else? I'm looking for stuff they published. There's a few flight sims. What else that Microsoft did? PGR 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
2007 is the winner.
Viva Pinata, Party Animals, Mass Effect, Crackdown. What else did they do? Did they do anything else? Oh, Seen It, Lights, Camera, Action. That was actually pretty good. Fusion Frenzy 2. Wow, they actually did have a pretty good year in 2007.
Wow.
I mean, 2020, they actually did okay.
I think they did as well.
2020, I mean, Microsoft Flights. Well, there was Microsoft Flight Sim, Ori, Will of the Wisps, Bleeding Edge, Grounded, Gears Tactics, Tell Me Why, Minecraft Dungeons, Wasteland 3.
Didn't publish Wasteland 3.
Didn't they?
No.
Oh, they didn't either. What else was there? There was a State of the... Oh, no. State of Decay. I don't know what else. There was a few other things. I thought 2020 wasn't bad for them. All things being equal. Battletoads.
No, 2007 was a cracking year. It's probably one of my favourite years in video games ever. For good reason.
2014's underrated. I've made threads about 2014. I think 2014 is a very underrated gaming year as a whole. Like, when you go back and look at 2014, you sit there and go, wow, 2014 was actually pretty damn legit good.
Yeah.
Alien Isolation, Shadow of Mordor, Sunset Overdrive, Titanfall. Like, 2014 was a good year.
It was cracking.
Like, go back and have a look. Okay. Thanathorn. My question. There's only like one or two left. Actually, no, one after this. And it's not even necessarily a community question, but I'll ask it anyway. Do you think Microsoft will buy exclusivity, timed exclusivity for a popular gaming IP similar to what they did with Rise of the Tomb Raider? It says here in 2021, but that's worded in a way where it says in 2021, will they do something like Rise of the Tomb? What IP do you think makes sense for an exclusivity deal?
Elden Ring.
I don't know if they'll do it. I don't know if they'll do a Tomb Raider thing. I don't know if they'll do something like that ever again.
No.
Sony will certainly do it and have been doing it. What IP do you think makes sense for Microsoft?
Elden Ring, if it was coming out in 2021, which it's not.
Yeah, probably not. Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Mass Effect Remastered. I don't know. What else?
Yeah, I don't think there's any...
If it was a new Tomb Raider, it would probably be that.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything else coming out in 2021. I think people are going to be a bit surprised. People thinking, 2021 is going to be stacked because 2020 wasn't.
I actually said that, to be honest. I actually thought 20... Again, I did add in the proviso that assuming stuff doesn't get delayed again. Like, if everything that's planned for 2021 lands, 2021 will be stacked.
But I have a feeling it's going to be 2022 that's the stacked year.
Yeah, but it might end up being.
Never mind.
Okay, last question. And this isn't... It is a question, but okay, I'll ask anyway. Skedaddle. Can we get Special Ed live streaming the upcoming Kiwi game for charity? You know Kiwi game? Those little Kiwis run around? I don't know. Can we?
Yeah, why not? It's coming out on Xbox. We'll get a code.
Is it? Is it coming into Game Pass?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Kiwi. I did see the video on that. It looks kind of funny.
It looks cute. Did you know...
But having said that, Skedaddle, Kiwis are New Zealand. I'm Australian.
And he's offended right now. I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't want to draw.
I'm offended. I am not from New Zealand. I am from Australia. And Kiwis are from New Zealand. Okay? So get your geography right, please.
Man.
Okay, I'll see. Maybe we'll play Kiwi.
Hey,
Maybe.
Interestingly, our good friends Randall and Jeremy were recording the Xbox 2 podcast whilst we were recording this one.
Same time.
Yeah. Although they live streamed theirs. So
yes, they do.
You know.
So why did you mention them?
I was just reading it on Twitter. I like mentioning their names every now and then.
Oh yeah, I know. When I got up this morning, I saw he posted on Twitter that they were about to go live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might have to listen to that later to see if they bagged me or not.
I loved one quote I read from I think Jez said I don't know if this is Randall or Jez, but one of them said convinced me to watch this Jez convinced me to watch this Nintendo Direct and laugh my ass off. If PlayStation or Xbox showed off these games, people would be laughing non-stop and calling it the worst show ever. If you're a Nintendo fan, though, hope you enjoyed it. It's kind of true.
A little bit.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of that element to it.
Yeah.
And it all comes back to that whole different rules for different people. Yeah. Like, the irony of, Microsoft is just Halo, Gears, Forza, like to suggest that there's no variety on Xbox. When you've got a publisher that literally makes one type of game, and they sort of change the setting a little bit or they reskin something here and there, you've got to see the irony in that. But anyway.
We did just get tagged in one last bonus round rumour. We just literally got tagged in the last 5 minutes. Starbreeze Studios, developers of Payday, currently working on Payday 3, released a statement, and I quote, "Through the proven strength of the Payday franchise and a highly dedicated development team, we now have a stable platform that supports the continued successful development of Payday 3. We are standing strong and confident in our efforts to close a publishing agreement with a partner that is as passionate about games as a service as Starbreeze is, and ready to join us in the successful launch of Payday 3.
I got DM'd this, and someone was like, "Oh, Microsoft looking at Starbreeze?" And I was like, well, you know what? If they're a publisher that is genuinely excited about games as a service, why wouldn't Microsoft have a look at them?
Yeah.
Well, hasn't there been like some problematic elements of Starbreeze as a studio surrounding Payday 2? There was that stuff a while ago.
They have no money left, and they had to sell a load of IP and deals and stop publishing games that they'd agreed to publish because they couldn't afford to do it anymore. They really screwed themselves over.
There was something. There was a situation that happened with the Payday 2 dev team where they were like, I don't remember because it was like this was happening like maybe 2015. So it's like, and I haven't seen it since. But it was something of like making fun of the user base or something. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I can't remember the details of it. I do remember there's some drama, but yeah, God knows. But yeah, that's interesting.
Hey, you don't hear a lot of publishers come out and genuinely proclaim excitement for games as a service. That to me sounds like a good fit for Microsoft and Game Pass.
And Payday
just launches straight into Game Pass, and
Payday was very popular.
Yep. I would not be surprised if Microsoft has had words with them.
Did we just have a question about what IP would Microsoft buy exclusivity for?
Yeah, Payday.
There you go. Payday. Boom.
Payday 3.
Well, I think that brings us to a close. A solid 2.5 hours of Xbox and video game chit-chat. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode. We'll be back either in a week or a couple of weeks. We're still not quite figured out how we're going to do that yet. Discussions are ongoing, boys and girls. But yeah, we'll be back soon enough. But we'll draw a line there. Also, thank you for watching. As always, if you don't already subscribe to XboxEra, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, giving us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, hit the notification bell so you can be alerted when we drop some fresh stuff. And we will see you next time. Adios.
Yep.
Ciao for now.
See you, everybody.